I was just an ordinary fishmonger. Yet I could easily slice a boulder weighing thousands of pounds with a single stroke. I could even split the thunder that skimmed just above the ground. All because, over the past 20 years since I came to this world, I've pushed my vitality way beyond its limits. Still, I've had to keep this power hidden. After all, once I reveal my true strength, I'm sure I'll face even greater unknown dangers. Originally, I thought I'd just keep a low profile until I became the strongest in the world. That is, until one day, my girlfriend showed up with an elegantly dressed man, right in front of me. Lu Chan, we're not right for each other anymore. Tian Hao is a tier 2 warrior. Only he can give me the sense of security I want. There are 100,000 yuan on this card. And the password is my birthday. Take it and use it. With that, Liu Ryan tossed a bank card and flung it onto the cutting board like it was charity. I glanced at the bank card on the board, then looked up at Liu Ryan's departing figure. A tier 2 warrior, huh? Sorry, I've been a tier 3 warrior for 2 years already. Maybe it's time I got out in the world. Early the next morning, I temporarily left my job at RT Mart, put on a suit, and stepped into the secret realm. Director Chan from the Exploration Bureau's HR department frowned at me when I arrived, with a scrutinizing look in his eyes. Kid, have you ever done this kind of work before? I replied calmly. I've been filleting fish at RT Mart for 20 years. Champion of the fish market every year. Director Chan's brow was all twisted up in confusion. Obviously, he didn't think fishmongering counted as a real skill. I didn't waste any words. I simply pulled the fish gut sword from my chest pocket and gave it a casual swing. There was a loud cracking sound, and the solid marble floor shattered instantly. A crack more than 20 meters long snaked wildly across the hall, outside the physical store. Everyone present was stunned. Even though the crack ran right underfoot, no one was harmed in the slightest. Director Chan was completely shocked. To project sword energy through the air, that's something only a tier 4 grandmaster can do. He finally snapped out of it, stammering as he changed his tone. Please, come with me. The deputy director insists on meeting you. Soon enough, I was led into the deputy director's office. By the window stood a refined-looking man, and sitting on the sofa was a pretty girl with big eyes. I greeted them politely. Hello. What kind of assessments are required for live stream hosts? Deputy Director Suzawa adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and answered flatly, it's simple. Just pass the combat test. I'm pretty busy, so give it all you've got and attack me now. I glanced around. This cramped office can't handle much chaos. Are you sure you want me to go all out in here? Director Chan's expression was a bit odd nearby, but Suzawa just smiled confidently. Go ahead, don't hold back. Since I'm letting you. Before he could finish, cold sword light flashed down like lightning. Suzawa felt all the energy in his body freeze, faced with that overwhelming sword aura. He even had the illusion that his great-grandmother was waving him over. Sword intent weaved together into a terrifying giant sword in midair. He was nothing like his composed self from before. That was clearly sword ki materializing. Against this ferocious tier 4 grandmaster power,
he, a mere tier 3 warrior, was nothing but an ant.
As the sword intent fell, the whole office shook violently. Cracks spread across the walls like spider webs. Suzehua gritted his teeth, frantically stirring up all his internal energy, trying to block the attack. A blood-curdling scream rang out, and he was slammed directly into the wall. Slowly, he slid down to the floor. Director Chan hurried over to help him up, while Su Shanwen beside them had turned pale with fright. Suzawa's hair was a mess, blood at the corner of his mouth, and he begged pitifully for mercy. No, bro, I give up. 1 p.m. You're officially entering the secret realm. He knew very well. If I hadn't held back by 80% at the end, he'd probably have passed away by now. Su Shanwen saw her brother's awkward state, and couldn't help but burst out laughing, looking at me standing tall with my sword. Her heart was beating like a rabbit in her chest. It wasn't until I turned away that Suzawa managed to sit up, still completely baffled. This kind of monster. Which ancient martial family could produce him? There are only about 10 grandmasters in the whole city of Tianshui. But for him, it was a heaven-sent opportunity. With me, he could finally earn his father's approval. The next day at 1 p.m., A security cordon was set up around the eastern suburbs of Tianshui City, dozens of armed soldiers standing ready. At the same time, almost every citizen of Longo was watching this national secret realm exploration event. In front of the live camera, the stylish female host Wang Sisi smiled sweetly. Dear viewers, good afternoon. I'm your host, Wang Sisi. Over the past year, secret realms have been appearing all over the country, and trespassers have suffered heavy casualties. This time, the nation has specially recruited powerful martial artists to explore. The entire event will be live-streamed, showcasing the strength of Longo's warriors to the whole internet. The camera shifted, showing 9 warriors standing at attention, each with their chins held high, faces full of arrogance. Citizens outside the cordon stared in awe. In the crowd, a well-dressed Liu Ryan was gazing passionately at Liu Tianhao in the team. Liu Tianhao smirked, instantly making the nearby girls shriek. Liu Ryan basked in the envious stares, secretly glad she had dumped me before. In her eyes, only a powerful warrior like Liu Tianhao could make her feel secure, while I was just a lowly fishmonger at RT Mart. No matter how many fish I killed in a lifetime, I could never reach Liu Tianhao's level. The host quickly finished the intro, but frowned at the script. Weren't there supposed to be 10 warriors in total? Why is one missing? Just then, I slowly stepped into the cordon-off area. Excuse me, make way hearing that familiar voice. Liu Ryan stiffened instantly, her eyes full of disgust. She shouted angrily, Lu Chun, didn't I already say not to pester me? Why did you follow me here? Aren't you embarrassed? I acted like I didn't hear her, never stopping my pace, not even glancing her way. I treated her like she was air. Liu Ryan was left completely stunned on the spot, her face pale one moment and flushed the next. Just as she was about to act up again, inside the cordon, a pretty girl in white silk came over lightly. Su Shanwen stopped in front of me, curious, and asked Lu Zhen, "You're here. Who is she?" I answered flatly, "Don't know her." Su Shanwen blinked and grinned teasingly. "So she's just an NPC." Liu Ryan's face turned purple with anger, but she didn't dare act out. She recognized this girl as the sister of Deputy Director Su Zewa of the Exploration Bureau. Her heart was full of doubt and suspicion. How did Lu Chun, a mere fishmonger, get in with such important people? At that moment, Deputy Director Su Zewa inside the cordon also noticed me. He immediately dropped what he was doing. He hobbled over quickly. His face lit up with a wide, blooming smile. "Brother Lu, you're finally here." Looking at Su Zehua, whose attitude had flipped 180 degrees right before me. I almost didn't recognize this guy. This moment happened to be caught by the live camera. Who is that? What a grand entrance. To think even the deputy chief is there greeting and smiling. Probably some big shot with incredible connections. Or maybe a hidden top-level dancer. The live chat exploded in an instant. Zhou Zahua didn't care at all about the strange looks from others. He bowed very low. No joke, this secret realm livestream. All depends on me, a Tier 4 Grandmaster martial artist. As long as the mission succeeds, the deputy and his title could finally be removed. Liu Tianhao furrowed his brows tightly. His face was full of disbelief. Isn't that the shark guy from RT Mart yesterday? How can he make Deputy Chief Su act so humble? He subconsciously glanced at Liu Ryan, but saw she was equally bewildered. Host Wang Sisi smiled mysteriously at the camera. Dear viewers, the last participant has arrived too.
His name is Lu Chun.
Officially certified. He is the most mysterious and most powerful dancer in our secret realm team.
Hearing this,
Liu Ryan's eyes widened in shock. This is him, the guy who just dumped me. And I was just bragging everywhere that my new boyfriend is an adventurer. Turns out I've also joined the expedition team. But even crazier, the officials even verified me as the most mysterious and powerful dancer. How is that even possible? He's just a guy who cuts up fish. Liu Ryan looked at me, then at the respectful Suzewa. Stunned, an absurd thought popped into her mind. Lu Chan must have used some dirty trick to fool the officials, hoping to win me back this way. Yes, that's definitely it. Liu Ryan stared at me relentlessly, quietly sneering inside. Lu Chen, trying to keep me with such reckless methods will only ruin yourself. At that moment, a staff member approached quickly and attached a mini camera to me. Then I strode toward the vortex. Seeing this, the other 9 dancers also entered the vortex one by one. The scene before me changed drastically. When I reappeared, I was already standing in a dark forest. Towering ancient trees blocked out the sun. Their huge trunks were like the bodies of giants, packed tightly together. After every few steps, the bush ahead started shaking violently. A 3-meter-tall armored rhinox burst out. Its metallic shell gleamed coldly. The single horn looked razor-sharp. A dancer nearby instantly turned pale. He exclaimed, "It's a Tier 3 wild beast. It's an armored rhinox. Everyone get ready." But the next second, the place fell silent. I charged straight at the giant beast. A flash of cold light. The armored rhinox kept running forward, but collapsed after a few steps. Its head smoothly severed from its body. The cut was mirror-like smooth. After a brief blank moment in the live stream, the chat exploded again. One strike to kill a Tier 3 wild beast. Is that the shark fist technique? Everyone inside and outside the secret realm was utterly shocked. In the crowd, Liu Ryan stared at the screen, dumbfounded. That was a Tier 3 wild beast. And Lu Chan killed it in one strike. Thinking back to that move, he felt a chill run through his entire body.
He gritted his teeth inwardly.
No, I must get back to Lu Chan's side. As long as I apologize, prepare a little surprise. He loves me so much. He will definitely forgive me. Inside the secret realm, I looked at the numbers jumping on my system panel. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly. Just as I thought, killing these big guys is how I get more vitality points. Ding, vitality has surpassed 1,000. You've unlocked the mountain and river sun and moon visualization, a divine grade trait. Azure Dragon Bloodline, Peerless Sword Technique, Sword Opening the Heavenly Gate. Visualization boosts spiritual power. Azure Dragon Bloodline triggers a 10-fold amplification. Sword Opening the Heavenly Gate is also an unrivaled move only immortals can wield. My eyes brightened a bit. Then I frowned. My vitality broke through the limit. So why am I still only Tier 4? Master at Harmonization Tier. Thinking about the visualization I just got, I pondered silently. Does breaking through to Tier 5 have something to do with my spiritual power being stuck at 100? Right then, Liu Tianhao shivered. His eyes were full of awe. He thought to himself, if Lu Chan had targeted that sword at me instead, I'd probably end up just like that armored rhinox. Outside the secret realm, Suzawa was just about to pop champagne to celebrate, when a staff member ran over in a panic. Deputy Chief Su. This is bad. The secret realm's energy index is surging. It's already hit the critical boundary for grade C. Suzawa's smile froze instantly. What? As soon as he finished, the entrance vortex to the secret realm suddenly tripled in size. Airwaves rolled off violently, sending the guarding martial artists flying. Su Shanuan was frantic. Lu Chen, are you okay? Zhou Zehua's face was ashen. The energy shot up with no warning. If it breaks into grade B, there will definitely be Tier 5, maybe even Tier 6 wild beasts. The entire Dragon Country's exploration and this secret realm would require a Tier 6 martial king as leader. No way, a small city like Tianshui can handle this. If something goes wrong, the whole expedition team will be wiped out, and his career will be over. Deputy Chief, the energy index stopped at grade C. A staff member gasped this out in a report. At this moment, the live feed cleared up again. I stood quietly in a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Several huge wild beasts lay around me. All had been sliced cleanly in half with a single slash. The cuts were smooth as glass. I looked calm and collected. The sword in my hand glittered with a cold light. The 9 dancers nearby stood with their mouths agape, eyes full of awe and fear. Juzoa finally let out a long breath. But the numbers are so high. There's no guarantee a Tier 5 wild beast won't appear. He made a snap decision. He grabbed the mic and shouted, Lu Chun. The situation has changed. Lead everyone out now. Just as he finished speaking, a thunderous roar came from the swamp. The mud bubbled up like boiling water, and a monstrous crocodile over 20 meters long burst out. Suzewa's eyes flew wide open. Utter terror consumed him. A Tier 5 wild beast. One-eyed giant crocodile. He didn't dare hesitate. He used all his strength and yelled at the top of his lungs. Luchan, run! That's a tier 5 wild beast. That voice also rang in the other dancers' headsets inside the secret realm. Tier 5 wild beast. One-eyed giant crocodile. The crowd erupted in desperate cries. We're dead for sure. Run, run now. Suzawa's roaring still echoed in their earphones. But it was too late. The tier 5 wild beast crashed down like a mountain. With a thunderous boom, the escape route was completely blocked. Toxic mist spewed out. Everywhere it passed, trees withered and turned black instantly. I don't want to die. Liu Tianhao was so scared his face turned ashen.
He just came to pad his resume.
He never expected he'd risk his life too. Outside the secret realm, Sushanuan was crying urgently. Bro, hurry up and think of something. Suzawa collapsed to the ground, murmured in despair. Unless a level 6 martial king appears. Otherwise we're all done for. Where would Tianshui City get a martial king? The livestream chat exploded instantly. It's over. The whole team is doomed. This team is dead for sure. Despair spread through the internet cable. Just when everyone thought we were doomed, suddenly an azure dragon phantom appeared on my chest. Everyone instantly turned their gaze to me. My face was calm, my long sword clear and sharp. Azure scales shimmered on my side. My black eyes instantly turned into golden vertical pupils. The sword rises, and the heavenly gate opens. My lips parted slightly. My voice echoed throughout the secret realm. In an instant, the sky turned dark. Countless swords shimmering with runes, their shadows intertwined in the clouds, suddenly merged into a giant bronze heavenly gate. A phantom, I stood beneath the gate. The sword blade radiated colorful light, looking like a peerless sword immortal. What is that thing? Suzawa's jaw nearly dropped in shock. The savage one-eyed giant crocodile was now locked in place by the terrifying sword aura. Its eyes were full of fright, completely unable to move. Cut, I shouted softly, swinging my sword down. The bronze heavenly gate collapsed. The azure dragon's sword shadow struck down like lightning. The giant crocodile tried to form a toxin shield, but it was torn apart like paper. The sword light was swift and fierce. Cleave it from head to belly in an instant. Toxic blood gushed wildly onto the ground, leaving a bottomless ravine in its wake. The king of fighters was stunned. The chat instantly went silent. Everyone stared dead at the screen, scalp tingling with shock. Liu Ryan in the crowd pinched her palm hard, nearly driven insane with regret. That was a level 5 beast. Luchan actually killed it in a single sword strike. She bit her lower lip deeply and swore to herself, I must get back to Luchan's side. No matter the cost. Monster. Truly a monster. Is he actually a martial king from the 6 realms? Suzehua rubbed his eyes fiercely. He couldn't believe it at all. But the crisis wasn't over. The halved crocodile's flesh began to squirm wildly. It started healing itself. Luchan, be careful. It has a regeneration talent. Suzehua's urgent shout came through the headset. I lowered my sword tip to the ground, lightly caressing the fish pattern on the hilt, coldly staring at the remains on the ground. 20 years ago, I gutted fish with a knife. It was all about cutting through bone in one stroke, to minimize pain. Today, I raise my sword to slay monsters, not just to cut you down, but to send them home as well. As soon as I finished speaking, the azure dragon phantom wrapped around my sword. The sword aura expanded 10 feet long, tearing the clouds apart with a boom. The azure dragon's fire shot down from the sky. The giant crocodile let out a piercing wail and was split in two once again. The blue flames instantly purified the toxic blood, completely shutting down its regeneration. Its life force was utterly extinguished. A surge of pure energy merged into my body. Blood key, 1108. Personally killed a level 5 beast. Gained a god-tier talent. Infinite regeneration. Spend blood key to regrow severed limbs. Passively immune to deadly toxins. Listening to the system notification, a ripple appeared in my eyes. This is absolutely a god-level power. I took out an alcohol pad, carefully wiped the blade. As a sharkman, keeping my tools clean is a bottom line. A loud gulping sound broke the silence. All the dancers stared at my back. their expressions beyond complex. Amazement and awe. Liu Tianhao gripped a tree trunk for dear life to avoid kneeling. Thinking back on his arrogance yesterday, he felt like a pathetic clown. Among the 9 dancers, an old man stood at the very back of the group, his eyes flickering, seemed apprehensive, yet as if he had some other motive, and even a little anxious.
His hands trembling slightly.
But everyone was so shocked. No one noticed his odd behavior. By now, chat was already completely nuts. Messages were flooding in faster than the eye could track. Holy crap, a level 5 beast got killed in a single sword strike. He really deserves to be officially ranked the strongest. I suspect he's a sword immortal descended from the heavens. 20 years as a sharkman. Sword splits the heavens. The world is shaken. Could he be the legendary shark immortal? Lu Chun is insanely cool. This lady will marry no one else but him in this life. Chat exploded completely. Lines of text surged like a tidal wave. The livestream's popularity was soaring at an unimaginable speed. Every viewer was totally conquered by that sword strike. Deputy Director Su. Online viewers have surpassed 300 million. The servers are about to crash. A shout snapped, stunned Suzawa back to reality. He suddenly widened his eyes and hurriedly shouted, "Quickly apply for more servers. We must ensure the live stream continues smoothly." Watching the stabilized video feed, Suzawa just wiped the sweat from his forehead. The next second, an even more shocked voice made his heart jump into his throat again. Deputy Director Long Guo. The official accounts of the Martial Arts Alliance and the Secret Realm Exploration Bureau joined and started spamming gifts like crazy. 2 official accounts competing. Suzawa felt dizzy just watching. These are the 2 strongest accounts in Longguo. Even though gifting is technically forbidden, they're still sending gifts anyway. He swallowed hard, feeling an excitement that threatened to burst his chest. He knew he'd bet on the right horse for sure this time. "Bro, look! We're trending on mobile." Sushanuan's trembling voice came through. Suzawa quickly pulled out his phone. "All the hot searches about me shot to number 1 for the trending feed. My sword opened the heavenly gate, slaying a level 5 beast in a single slash. The one-eyed giant crocodile video was getting edited and reposted non-stop. In just half an hour, views broke several billion. The internet was in total frenzy. All sorts of news swept across the web like a tidal wave. Meanwhile, in Yanjing, head of the Baiming family, Baiming Kang sat in the seat of honor, staring at the screen closely, looking impressed. Such fierce sword intent. This kid's potential is unlimited. Behind him stood a stunningly beautiful, cool-tempered young lady with a long sword. Her aura frosty and elegant. A ripple stirred in his eyes. Intense fighting spirit rising. "King Yu, do you want to challenge him?" Baiming Kang asked with a smile. Baiming King Yu nodded slightly. Her voice as chilly as ice and snow. "He's very strong. He can be my opponent." Without another word, he turned and left without hesitation. Her white dress stood proud like a snow lotus. Meanwhile, on the other side of Yanjing City, the atmosphere in the Nangong family conference hall was tense. Family head Nangong Lai looked grim. He slammed the table forcefully.
He angrily ordered, "Go investigate this route immediately."
In just a few months, the National Youth Dancer League will start. It's connected to the Kunlun secret realm. I won't allow any mistakes. The champion must be from our Nangong family. Nearby, the arrogant young man, Nangong Yushu, lazily stood up.
He scoffed. "Don't worry, father."
He's absolutely no match for me. Nangong Lai's expression softened slightly. "Yushu, this matter is crucial. If you want to win the position of Martial Arts Alliance leader, you have to take the championship." Nangong Yushu shifted from lazy to serious. He nodded earnestly. In the dark underground grand hall somewhere in Dragon Nation, on the television screen, footage was playing of me slaying a Tier 5 mutant beast. Upon the throne, a genderless voice echoed in the darkness. "Though this kid ruined our plan in Tianshui City, he might become a member of our celestial organization. Red Demon, you reach out to him. If you can recruit him, fine.
If not,
then kill him together." A man and a woman. 2 killers wearing demon masks knelt down simultaneously. "Yes," they replied, instantly fading into the darkness. Meanwhile, inside the dark forest secret realm in Tianshui City, after I slew the lost mutant beast, I completed the mission successfully. My vitality has reached 1,390. After casually tossing a rebirth talisman, I started habitually wiping my longsword. At that moment, Liu Tianhao hesitated, seemingly trying to gather his courage. I walked over somewhat timidly. He had a bag in his hand. The bag was bulging, packed full of items inside. He whispered, "Mr. Liu, these are the mutant beasts we just collected. Crystal cores and rare medicinal herbs. All for you, we didn't take any." He kept his head down, so nervous his voice trembled. He couldn't even look at me. I was a little surprised, but I didn't play coy. I reached out and took it. "Thanks." Liu Tianhao felt relieved. Wiping his cold sweat, he waved his hands repeatedly. His face showed nothing but flattering smiles. Inside, he was thrilled. "Awesome! I actually got to talk to Liu Chan." I nodded. It was my first time entering a secret realm. I hadn't prepared at all. I truly didn't understand these tricks. I put away my Yuchang sword and started walking towards the exit of the secret realm. The martial artists followed behind like loyal followers, their eyes filled with reverence. Just as I exited the secret realm, countless cameras instantly surrounded me. "Mr. Liu, how did you manage to slay a tier 5 mutant beast with just one strike? What level are you exactly?" The female host was so excited she couldn't even speak coherently. Her hand holding the microphone was trembling, faced with this overwhelming scene. I frowned slightly. Honestly, I'd rather go fight another tier 5 beast than deal with all this. Before I spoke, suddenly a syrup-sweet, deliberately exaggerated voice echoed from the crowd. "Liu Chan, let's get back together. I prepared a surprise for you." The entire venue went dead silent. It was Liu Ryan dressed in a stunning outfit. She sashayed over, pushing aside the hostess. With a bright smile, she said, "Sorry, everyone. I am Liu Chan's girlfriend. There are a few things I want to say to her." She looked at me passionately. "Liu Chan, I was testing you on purpose before. You only know that shark didn't keep me company. So I wanted to find a guy to annoy you. I was wrong. Let's get back together." As she said this, her eyes wandered. She didn't dare to look at Liu Tianhao behind me. She's betting Liu Tianhao wouldn't expose her in public. Liu Tianhao's mouth twitched. He secretly cursed, "Green tea bitch." But he really didn't dare make a sound, afraid of embarrassing me. Seeing Liu Tianhao didn't expose her, Liu Ryan was overjoyed. She pulled out a ring box meant for proposing to Liu Tianhao. She slowly knelt on one knee. "Liu Chan, I've been ready with this proposal ring for a while now, just waiting for this moment." Everyone was stunned. The livestream chat exploded with curses. "Damn, where did this green tea bitch come from? Seriously, you found a guy just to piss off someone? Get lost already." Not far away, Su Shanuan's eyes turned red. She bit her lip, hoping I wouldn't say yes. Looking at Liu Ryan kneeling on one knee, I suddenly burst out laughing. Interesting. It felt like watching a free circus show. Liu Ryan pitifully pleaded, "Liu Chen, are you really going to make me kneel here?" I shook my head and smiled, reached out and took the ring. Liu Ryan's eyes filled with wild joy. Her smile nearly stretched to her ears. She was already fantasizing about the prestige of being a tier 5 martial artist's wife. Just as she was about to get up, the next moment I swung my blade. A cold flash. The ring instantly turned to powder, scattering with the wind. I showed no expression, didn't say a word, didn't even spare her a glance. Silence was the greatest. Contempt. I turned and walked towards Su Zoa and Su Shanuan. Liu Ryan's face was ghostly pale. Her smile froze. She scrambled to her feet and tried to grab me. "Liu Chan, you can't do this. We still have a chance." Bang! Before she could get close, she was knocked back by a wave of invisible energy, falling humiliatingly to the ground. "Liu Chan, don't leave." No one paid her any attention. I left in a car with the Su siblings. The car drove off into the distance, leaving Liu Ryan desperately chasing. She fell to the ground in disgrace, her makeup smeared from crying, her fancy dress covered in dirt, sobbing in utter heartbreak. "There's no Liu Chan on this road. How can I live?" A WOO. Everyone around was full of disdain. Trying to avoid her, she regretted it deeply. At that moment, a pair of shoes stopped in front of her. Liu Ryan looked up as if grabbing at a lifeline. It was Liu Tianhao. Tianhao, you still love me, right? She said urgently. Liu Tianhao sneered coldly. He immediately kicked her face without hesitation. Pa, green tea bitch. Get as far away as you can. Trash like you doesn't deserve to like my bro. Liu Ryan was kicked and fell to the ground awkwardly. Her hair was messy. A look of pain and despair appeared on her face. Her world completely collapsed at that moment. This time, Lu Chun's livestream was a huge success. Peak viewership surpassed 800 million. The Martial Arts Alliance and the Secret Realm Bureau both fought for the top spot, giving tips totaling over 20 million. Inside the exclusive coach bus, Suzewa's hands trembled with excitement. It was as if he could already see his future job title. With the deputy part gone, I sat by the window, my slender fingers gripping the deerskin, carefully wiping my longsword. I didn't even look up. My voice was calm and steady. Suzewa was stunned. His overflowing excitement seemed to hit cotton. He looked at me with unwavering focus, and his sword cleaning stopped abruptly. Maybe that's why this young man in front of me became a 5th-level dancer at such a young age. Honestly, I have no interest in these numbers. I only joined the expedition team to get stronger. Fame and tips are just fleeting things. Sword cleaned. I checked its shine against the light, nodded in satisfaction. To my right, Sushanuan rested his chin in his hands, gazing intently at my profile. Sunlight outlined my features in a golden glow. He studied me closely,
his heartbeat suddenly quickening.
His cheeks grew hot, beyond his control. Suzewa kept babbling across from him, but he didn't hear a single word. To be honest, when that woman proposed in public just now, he looked calm on the surface, but inside he was a nervous wreck. Luckily, I didn't say yes. Only then did he finally breathe a sigh of relief. Just as he was lost in thought, the coach hit a bumpy patch, suddenly jolting. I looked up, and our eyes met in an instant. Sushanuan froze as if struck by lightning. Completely stiff in place, he looked into my jet-black eyes, actually feeling dizzy for a moment. He even forgot to breathe. Are you okay? I frowned lightly. My deep voice snapped him back to reality.
He quickly averted his gaze like a startled rabbit.
Lowering his head, even his earlobes were flushed bright red. I'm fine. I was just thinking about something. Oh God, that's so embarrassing. His toes fidgeted nervously inside his white socks, wishing he could dig a hole and hide in it. I gave a non-committal smile and let out a quiet Then I turned to look out the window. Sushanuan snuck a glance at me, taking a long breath, only to be flooded with sadness again. Does he really not care about my reaction? His palms started to sweat. At that moment, he knew for sure. He was hopelessly in love with me. A new storm was brewing. The abrupt ring of a cell phone shattered the tension in the bus. Suzewa looked at the caller ID excitedly, his eyes slightly moist. It's here, the call finally came. He answered with a trembling hand, voice tight with tension. The bus went silent. Everyone watched as he nodded repeatedly, his face barely hiding his excitement. Rest assured, I'll handle everything properly. He hung up. Suzewa let out a huge sigh of relief, turning to me, face beaming with joy. Lu Chun, my dad is coming to Tianshui City. I just replied with a quiet, not looking up. So his dad is coming, big deal. What's that got to do with me? Suzewa, seeing my indifferent reaction, quickly explained. My dad is one of the directors of the Dragon Kingdom Secret Realm Exploration Bureau. This time, he's coming on behalf of the Bureau, specifically to meet you in Tianshui City. Do you realize how important this is? Only then did I slightly look up. So that's how it is. Then I added with a hint of understanding. No wonder you're so weak, but could still become deputy director. Suzewa's smile froze instantly. Next to him, Sushanuan couldn't hold back a laugh, quickly covering his mouth with one hand. His eyes curved into crescents.
Hey, Suzawa stiffened his neck
And said angrily, you can insult my abilities, but you absolutely can't insult my character. I became deputy director on my own merits. I just smiled non-committally and didn't argue. Honestly, there's no point discussing this. You can't deny. He does have some ability, but everyone around him would naturally smooth the way for him because of his father's position. Suzewa looked at my smile, as if realizing something too. He remembered how his co-workers hesitated to speak when he got promoted. and his expression grew complicated, but he quickly pulled himself together, put his arm around my shoulders affectionately, and said excitedly, "Anyway, Lu Chen, you're about to become famous. When my dad arrives, he's definitely going to appreciate you. He'll probably even give you an entry ticket to the National Young Dancer League. Our Chanshui City's national ranking will all depend on you." I glanced at the overexcited Suzawa, frowning slightly. National Young Dancer League? Suzawa rushed to explain. It's a top-level official event. Contestants can't be over 30 years old. Our Chanshui City is a Tier D city, which normally doesn't get any spots. But I'm sure my dad will get you one. After he finished, I nodded and said bluntly, "I won't participate. Official competitions like these don't allow killing. If there's no bloodshed, what's the point?" Suzawa's eyes went wide, and he scratched his head in frustration. Why not participate? That's the most prestigious tournament in the country. You could meet the very best talent there. As long as you stand out, you'll get rich rewards. You might even get to join the bureau because of it. That's the dream of countless dancers. My gaze shifted slightly, and I asked, if I join the bureau, will I get access to more, stronger secret realms? Suzawa nodded emphatically. Of course. The bureau oversees all of the Dragon Kingdom's secret realm exploration. It's the only official organization. I nodded thoughtfully. If that's the case, then it's worth a try. Tianshui City is too small. Even the best secret realms will eventually run out of blood energy for me. The League really is a good way to reach top-level secret realms. So, have you changed your mind? Suzawa asked nervously. I smiled and didn't answer directly.
Instead, I asked,
What was that martial arts alliance you mentioned earlier? Suzawa's expression got a little strange. He had thought I was a descendant of an ancient martial family. Now, it seemed like that wasn't the case, which only made him think I was even more mysterious. He explained, the Martial Arts Alliance was originally formed by the ancient martial families, and later took in a lot of regular martial artists. It's the official authority that manages all martial artists. The Secret Realm Exploration Bureau actually grew out of it. Though the Bureau has developed fast in recent years, the Alliance still has the deepest roots. I immediately found the key point. So in recent years, you mean? The existence of warriors didn't start with the arrival of the secret realms. They actually existed many years ago. They were just never made public. A moment later, the car took me home. I got out of the car. I quickly disappeared from their view. In the car, Suzawa slapped his forehead hard. Oh no. I forgot to ask Lu Chen if he's selling materials from the secret realm. Su Shanuan, on the other hand, looked at the neighborhood reluctantly. Her long eyelashes quivered, giving off a girl's unique shyness. Seeing this, Suzawa showed a jealous expression on his face. Looks like he believes his daughter has completely lost her heart. After returning to my room, I tidied up a little. Then I sat in the middle of the living room. I unrolled the painting of mountains, rivers, sun, and moon. My thoughts unfurled with the scroll. A wave of ancient and vast energy surged toward me. The masterful artistry of mountains and rivers on the scroll echoed the cosmic spectacle of the sun and moon above. Just one glance at the sky and sun and moon above, and I felt my mind seized by an invisible hand. It was as if my soul was being sucked into the universe. Darkness swept over my eyes. I quickly looked away. I nervously rolled up the upper half of the scroll. Looks like with my current mental strength, I can only visualize the mountains and rivers on the ground first. After adjusting my breathing, I refocused my mind. My consciousness gradually sank into the painting. I vaguely felt as if I was inside that mystical land of mountains and rivers. In this mysterious realm, a resonant bell-like voice suddenly boomed in my ears. Heaven and earth are the furnace. Creation is the craftsman. Yin and yang are the coal. All things are the copper. I held my breath and concentrated. Following the mantra, I began visualizing. I don't know how much time passed. I suddenly opened my eyes. A flash of golden light shot from my eyes. My whole aura changed instantly, like a mighty sword about to be unsheathed. Its sharpness fully revealed. But in the next instant, the intimidating presence completely vanished. As calm as a still well, I let out a light breath. My mind felt sharper and fuller than ever. All five senses became extremely acute. Host, Lu Chun. Level 5th tier barrier breaker. 5 supreme talents. Azure Dragon. Bloodline, infinite regeneration. Mental power, 200. Vitality, 1390. Techniques, peerless swordsmanship. Wandering dragon steps. Twin sleeve serpent sword, opening the heavenly gate. Mountains, rivers, sun and moon path. Visualization method, breakthrough to tier 5. As expected, it requires a simultaneous increase in mental power. Looking at the panel, I nodded. Ding! Congratulations on breaking through to 5th tier dancer. Breakthrough reward pack received. Open it? Opened. Congratulations. You've obtained the Insight Eye talent. Stare at an enemy for 3 seconds to see their fatal weakness. Upgradable with increased mental power. A flash of surprise crossed my eyes. With this upgradable talent, no matter what tricky beast I kill in the future, it'll be as swift and clean as a shark. It was already late at night. The room was completely dark. I had just stood up to turn on the lights when my ears twitched suddenly. I heard extremely light footsteps outside the door. Brother Lu, are you home? A cautious voice sounded. I raised an eyebrow, walked over and opened the door. Standing outside the door was Liu Tianhao, the same guy who was with Liu Ryan the other day. Liu Tianhao stood outside the door with a fawning smile, tiny beads of sweat breaking out on his forehead. His hands nervously fidgeted together. What's up? I asked calmly. Liu Tianhao scratched his head and forced a smile. He gestured. Several men in black behind him carried several high-quality metal boxes and walked up. Brother, I'm here to apologize to you. Liu Tianhao's voice was flattering. I was blind and arrogant before. Let a scumbag fool me. Please don't hold it against me. Pointing at the boxes, he added. This is a small token from the Liu family. We're very sincere. Please be generous with me. I looked at his sincere expression and said after thinking, leave it in the room. This guy might be arrogant, but at least he knows how to read the situation. He was pretty sensible in the secret realm, too. No need to fight to the death. Liu Tianhao was visibly relieved. He excitedly called his people to move the stuff in. Careful! Put it in the corner. After finishing everything, he respectfully left the room and even closed the door quietly for me. I opened the boxes. Inside were nothing but Tier 3 and 4 beast cores. They glowed alluring under the lights. Beast cores are the energy core of beasts. Extremely rare. Although the quality wasn't the absolute best, the Liu family clearly put a lot of thought into this. The other box was filled with rare blood-replenishing herbs. 100-year snow ginseng, lingi, jade essence. I smiled lightly. With a thought, I stashed the resources into the system space. Then I cooked a simple meal with longevity meat. The meat melted in my mouth. A warm current instantly nourished my whole body. Just as I was about to cultivate, my phone chimed. Su Shanuan, username Susu, sent me a message. Lu Chun, are you asleep yet? I replied with 2 words. Not yet. She immediately replied. Great. I was worried I might be bothering you. I glanced at my username. Cold face not that cold. Su Shanuan immediately followed up with a voice message. Her voice was cute and clear, carrying a girl's shy tone. So my dad will be arriving in Tianshui City tomorrow. And he wants to know when you might be free to meet. I'm available anytime. I replied quickly. Okay. Then she followed with a cute cat emoji after the mosquito. I politely asked if she had anything else. This time she waited 10 seconds before replying. Nothing else. Good night. I turned off the screen and tossed my phone aside, continuing my visualization cultivation. After my cultivation had stagnated for 3 months, I craved becoming stronger more than anyone. Meanwhile, at the Su family villa, Su Shanuan was curled up on a soft sofa. Her watery eyes were fixed intently on the screen, her full chest heaving up and down. After waiting for ages without a reply, she pouted her lips aggrievedly, looking like a neglected kitten. What's wrong? Who bullied you? Su Zhewa leaned over, trying to peek at her phone. Su Shanuan acted like a startled little beast, immediately shielding the phone against her chest. When did you get here? If you dare try to peek again, I'll tell Dad. Su Zhewa gave a mischievous smile. You're messaging Lu Chun, aren't you? Look at that pout. He's ignoring you, isn't he? Bullshit. Lu Chan just told me good night. Su Shanuan's face instantly flushed crimson, her voice rising an octave. Silly sister. I clearly saw that the last message was sent by you. Embarrassed and angry, Su Shanuan suddenly stood up, stepped onto the sofa, and skillfully grabbed Suzeo's ear. That's what you get for talking nonsense. You deserve the pain. Ow, ow, let go. My lady, I was wrong. Suzewa pleaded for mercy repeatedly. Su Shanuan let go of his ear huffily. I'm definitely going to report you tomorrow. Suzewa looked helpless. He turned serious. Stop messing around. I still need to investigate the matter regarding the secret realm. Tomorrow I have to arrange for father to meet Lu Jian. I'm busy. After Suzewa left, Su Shanuan looked at her silent phone, stomping her feet in frustration. What a piece of junk phone. It can't even receive a single message. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. That's it. Can I just go with father tomorrow? I also need to prepare a small gift. The grievance on her face vanished instantly. She excitedly put on her shoes. Her fair, delicate feet slipped into fluffy bunny slippers. She grabbed her phone eagerly and skipped toward her bedroom. Meanwhile, in an ordinary residential area of Tianshui City, the old man who had appeared in the secret realm was pacing back and forth in his room, looking anxious. His cloudy eyes were filled with despair, as if there were monstrous beasts waiting outside. Suddenly, a rhythmic, peculiar knocking sounded at the door. The old man trembled all over. He opened the door with shaking hands, only to see two ghost-like figures standing outside. The next day at dawn, I slowly opened my eyes. Feeling the solid and thick power of vitality within me, I let out a soft breath. The 5th rank realm is finally stabilized. I glanced at the clock. It was exactly 7 a.m. Time for work, I whispered to myself, although I no longer lacked ways to obtain vitality points. The habit of killing fish for 20 years was etched into my bones. However, as soon as I walked out of the complex, I sensed something was wrong. The street instantly erupted. Countless gazes shifted toward me simultaneously. It's Lu Chan! Oh my god! It's really Lu Shen. He's even more handsome than on the live stream. The crowd surged toward me like a tide, surrounding me so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak through. People were holding up phones for photos or asking for autographs, and some even asked if I was taking disciples. The noise rose and fell incessantly. I frowned slightly. I hadn't expected to become a national focal point overnight. Make way, I said in a deep voice. I had to circulate my vitality to weave through the crowd, barely managing to squeeze my way to our T-Mart. As it turned out, the situation at our T-Mart was even more exaggerated. The fresh produce area was surrounded by layers of people. In front of my shark stall, it was packed with various bloggers and frantic fans. Lu Shen, try the bento I made. Can we take a photo together? Looking at the flowers and gifts piled on the stall, I sighed helplessly. My peaceful life of killing sharks was likely over. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the Tianshui City Secret Realm Exploration Bureau, a black business van emblazoned with the Bureau HQ emblem came to a slow stop. The door opened, and a man in a deep blue uniform, exuding an air of natural authority, stepped out. He was one of the heads of the Dragon Kingdom Secret Realm Exploration Bureau, the 7th rank Voidhole Marshal Saint Su Tianan Father. Su Zehua, who had been waiting for a long time, bowed respectfully. Su Tianan gave him a brief glance and went straight to the point. Where's Lu Chun? Before Su Zehua could react, Su Shanuan raised her hand to answer first. I know! He should be at our T-Mart right now. Sharks, let's go. To our T-Mart. Su Tianan turned around. I will personally visit Lu Chun. The driver's eyes widened in shock. Executive officer, you are a Marshal Saint level powerhouse, visiting a shark-killing guild. Did you not hear me? Su Tianan's voice sank, and the air suddenly froze. The driver broke out in a cold sweat, nodding repeatedly. Yes, setting off immediately. The motorcade sped toward RT Mart. Su Zehua swallowed hard. His father, who usually sat at the top of the General Bureau, and to whom even Marshal Kings would bow respectfully, was actually condescending to meet a shot-killing youth. If this got out, it would surely cause a massive stir. As for Su Shanuan, she was clutching a koi handkerchief she'd stayed up to embroider, and a sword tassel infused with sword intent. Her mind was full of images of me receiving her gifts. A rosy flush crept onto the young girl's cheeks. At this moment, our T-Mart had turned into a boiling ocean. I was helplessly dealing with the surging crowd. Someone was standing on a shelf, holding a pink banner that read, "Lu Shen, marry me." Girls in uniforms held up glowing fan signs. Livestream cameras illuminated the shark stall brightly. If reality was like this, the internet was even crazier. After a night of ferment, the name Lu Shen dominated the trending searches on every platform. Countless netizens flooded the livestream room, just to catch a glimpse of the shark immortal. The video of me opening the heavenly gate with one sword, from yesterday, had surpassed 20 billion total views. A struggling small video website, by relying on content related to me, saw its daily traffic skyrocket by 3,000%. The CEO was in tears as he gave employees year-end bonuses during a live stream. However, looking at these crazy so-called fans before me, I only felt a massive headache. The constant shouts of hubby from every direction made my eardrums ache. I just wanted to kill some sharks in peace. It was just a job, and I didn't want to be gawked at like this. I put down the shark-killing knife and sighed softly. Then I washed my hands, preparing to leave. I couldn't continue this job for the time being. Although there were many people, hardly any of them were actually there to buy fish. There was no point in staying, just as I was thinking about how I should make my exit. Suddenly, a burst of exclamations came from the distance. The crowd then parted automatically, quickly revealing a straight, wide path. I looked at the figures walking toward me, my eyes flickering slightly. I recognized a few familiar faces. Among them were Su Zawa and Su Shanuan. It seemed that the imposing middle-aged man in the lead must be their father. In the distance, Su Tianan approached with steady steps. His invisible aura instantly silenced the noisy crowd. Many onlookers had already recognized Su Tianan. They were so shocked they barely dared to breathe. The live chat exploded again. Oh my god. Isn't this the chief executive of the Secret Realm Administration? Su Tianan? That's right, it's him. I see him on the news all the time. He's the executive in charge of coordinating and planning Secret Realm strategy for the Bureau. I heard Chief Su is a 7th-tier martial sage. It's hard to find an opponent for him in the whole Dragon Nation. No wonder he's called the Dear God. He actually got a personal meeting with Chief Su. Chief Su's presence is suffocating. I can barely breathe even through the screen. The top official of the Secret Realm Administration came in person. That's what true prestige looks like. This aura, that's the legendary martial sage pressure. I'm betting 50 cents. They're recruiting him into the Bureau. Dear God is awesome. The live chat is going crazy. The hashtags about Su Tianan meeting me personally are already topping the trending charts. When Su Tianan stood in front of me, his dignified face showed a hint of a gentle smile. He softly said, "You must be Lu Chun, right?" Su Tianan kept sizing me up and down, but on the surface showed no emotion. But inside, he was absolutely shocked. So young, even younger than in the footage. At most, he's about as old as Su Xiaonuan, especially those eyes, so calm and mature for his age. Su Tianan just couldn't imagine that a youth this young could actually kill a 5th-tier beast with one strike. We're talking about a 5th-tier beast. When he was Lu Chun's age, facing a 5th-tier beast, he would have ended up with one of two results. Either get eaten alive, or just run for his life. Truly, heroes emerge from the young. The more Su Tianan looked, the more satisfied he was. His smile grew even kinder. I also studied Su Tianan, my heart slightly racing, with a trace of seriousness deep in my eyes. I could feel this person was extremely powerful, even stronger than all the beasts I killed yesterday combined, by a long shot. That 5th-tier beast, the one-eyed giant croc, probably wouldn't even matter in front of him. But he didn't show any hostility. Sharks for 20 years. I'm very sensitive to sharks. I nodded, my voice calm and steady, yes. Su Tianan smiled and reached out a hand.
Hello.
I'm Su Tianan, Chief Executive of the Secret Realm Administration. Nice to meet you. I reached out my hand too, gave a gentle shake, nodded and said nothing. Su Tianan didn't mind at all. His face still cheerful, he asked again. It's pretty crowded and messy here. Not really ideal to talk. If you're willing, let's talk in the car. He really showed me a lot of respect with those words. He didn't even say please first, but asked if I was willing in advance. The whole crowd was stunned. Suzehua looked on with a complicated expression. All his life, his father had never spoken to him like that. Maybe dad truly values me after all. Sushanun's bright eyes stared at me without blinking, her two little hands in front of her, holding a delicate bag, cheeks flushed, her face slightly red, under everyone's watchful eyes. I nodded lightly. After all, this is the chief executive of the Secret Realm Exploration Administration. It's only polite to show respect.
And
If I really do join the Secret Realm Exploration Administration in the future, I'll definitely be working with him. After seeing me agree, Su Tianan smiled, gestured for me to go first. Thank you, then please. After we walked outside the RT Mart, Su Tianan personally opened the car door for me. Soon, under the envious gazes of the crowd, I followed Su Tianan into the black business vehicle. The car started, and soon left the RT Mart. The live camera captured the entire process of Su Tianan personally taking me away. The live chat was absolutely going wild. Damn, Chief Su opened the car door himself. Road God, what a reception. I'm jealous. This is what it's like to be a genius. Willing to pay top price for the bench Lu Chun just sat on. Anybody help me get it? I'll pay top dollar for the water Lu Chun just used to wash his hands. Please, please, urgently, please. On the trending list, the hashtag of Su Tianan meeting Lu Chun shot to #1 like a rocket. All the major forums are frantically discussing the meaning behind this. Some are guessing I'm about to get a major promotion. Others assert I'll become the youngest captain of the Secret Realm Exploration Team. There's even inside info saying the Martial Arts League has already sent people to Tianshui City. Inside the business vehicle at that moment, the atmosphere in the cabin was a little serious. Suzehua sat in the passenger seat, sneaking glances at us through the rear-view mirror. Su Tianan's silver hair was perfectly in place, his back straight under the navy blue suit, as if it would never bend. In the Dragon Nation's martial arts world, this martial sage powerhouse dominated, and yet now he's actually leaning forward a bit, speaking in a gentle way no one had ever seen before, and talking to me. Suzehua's gaze became even more complicated in his memory. His father was always stern and unsmiling. Suzehua remembered practicing martial arts. Even if he was exhausted and vomiting blood, his father would just coldly tell him to keep going. Thinking back to my first successful hunt of a beast, my father didn't even give me a single word of praise. And now this strict father of mine is actually opening the car door for a young man on his own accord. His face is full of a gentle smile. Suzehua's fingers unconsciously brushed along the armrest of the seat. Suddenly, he understood. What my father values is not just my strength, but the potential I represent. Someone who doesn't belong to any ancient martial family, yet possesses the talent to split open the heavens with one sword. In today's martial alliance dominated by ancient families, a genius like this means so much to those new wave martial artists represented by my father. It's obvious. No words needed. My father must have worked so hard all these years. Suzehua felt a bit of bitterness rise in his heart. For the first time, he truly realized the kind of burden his father carried on his shoulders. As the figurehead of the new generation of martial artists, my father has always faced both open and hidden rivalry from ancient martial families. Those martial clans who've passed down their legacy for millennia control all the high-level techniques and secret realm resources. For people like my father, new wave warriors who rose up based on their own talent, they throw every kind of suppression at them. And someone like me who doesn't rely on any family, a young martial artist with extraordinary talent, is the perfect candidate to break the family monopoly. Suzehua thought to himself, maybe I could become sworn brothers with Lu Chun. That way, once he becomes even stronger in the future, my status will rise along with his. As he thought this, Suzehua's eyes instantly brightened. Even his previously sour mood felt much lighter. In the back seat, Su Shanwen bit her lower lip, her ears turning slightly red. Outside the car window, shadows of passing trees cast dappled light on her face. Her pale, jade-like fingers under the pink knitted sweater gripped the tie tightly. She was secretly glancing at my profile. Her heartbeat was so fast, it felt like it might jump out of her chest. She looked like a nervous little bunny. Her toes restlessly rubbed against the floor. Inside the car, little friend Lu, Su Tianan broke the silence. His tone was full of admiration. Yesterday's sword amazed the entire Dragon Nation martial arts community. I nodded slightly. That's too much praise. May I ask who your master is, little friend? Su Tianan asked tentatively. To be able to train a disciple like you, it must be a hidden master. Observing up close, he could feel even more. The restrained yet overwhelming power within me. Even now, he still couldn't imagine how I trained. At this age, with such achievements, only those monstrous geniuses from ancient martial families could ever manage that. But he had never heard of any ancient martial family with the surname Lu. I calmly replied, self-taught. The car's interior went silent. Su Tianan's pupils contracted slightly. Then he burst out laughing. A self-made talent indeed. You're certainly extraordinary, young friend. He changed his topic. Have you ever considered joining the Bureau of Secret Realm Exploration? With your strength, you could easily lead the special action team.
Hearing this, Suzawa
Clenched the hem of his clothes tightly in his hand. The special action team is the Bureau's most elite force. Usually only martial artists of grade 6 or above can be captains. My father wants to promote me beyond the normal standards. After pondering for a moment, I'd like to compete in the National Youth Martial Artist Tournament first. Though this so-called tournament doesn't sound very exciting, something Su Zewa said actually moved me. Participating in this tournament might help Tianshui City upgrade to a grade C city. For this, I'm pretty interested. After all, Tianshui City has been my home for more than 20 years. I've got a real sense of belonging here. If I can make this city better, I'd be happy to. A flash of gold appeared in Su Tianan's eyes. That's ambition. He took out a gold-embossed invitation from his pocket. It's a direct invitation to the tournament. With this, you can skip the selection round and enter the competition directly. I took the invitation and thanked him. This time, it's definitely worth joining the martial arts tournament, because the top 10 can get a place to explore the Kunlun secret realm. Just for that, it's enough to overshadow any other reward. Su Tianan smiled and said with deep feeling. When he heard this, Su Zeihua, sitting up front, had his pupils shrink again. Kunlun secret realm. My eyebrows furrowed slightly, and I asked in confusion. Su Tianan explained with a chuckle. The Kunlun secret realm is different from others. The foreigners inside this realm aren't very hostile toward humans. Some of them even have a positive attitude. When they casually offer some resources, those are extremely precious for our race. But unfortunately, Kunlun's secret realm only opens once every 3 years, and each opening lasts only 2 hours. Plus, no more than 10 people can go in, so the spots are incredibly rare.
Hearing this,
a look of realization flashed through my eyes. This must be an inside story even Su Zawa doesn't know. Didn't expect Su Tianan to just tell me like that. By the way, Su Tianan suddenly remembered. So where are you staying now, young friend? If you don't mind, you can temporarily stay at my villa in Tianshui City. No need, I politely declined. I prefer my current home. Su Tianan didn't insist. Instead, he asked, so what are your plans going forward, young friend? I looked out the window. The scenery flying by got more intense. Just 2 simple words. Yet it made Su Tianan solemnly impressed. He said seriously, if you need anything, contact me anytime. He handed over a personal business card, with just a single phone number on it. I took the card, nodded. Well, for now, I'll have to ask you to stay in Tianshui City a bit longer. During this time, whatever you want to do in Tianshui City's Secret Realm Bureau, you can do it. 3 months later, when the National Martial Artist Tournament begins, I'll come pick you up, Su Tianan said softly. He could tell that I don't like noisy crowds. Maybe the atmosphere in the Bureau would actually irritate me. It's better to just stay in Tianshui City for now. For someone like me, a real genius who could achieve such power just by self-study, not restricting me at all, is actually the best arrangement. I'm honestly pretty satisfied with Su Tianan's arrangement. Even surprised by it, I nodded gently. At that moment, Su Shanuan sitting next to me finally gathered her courage turned around and handed me a gift bag. Her voice as soft as a mosquito. Lu Chen, this is a gift I prepared for you. I froze for a second, took the bag. My fingertips inadvertently brushed against the girl's soft palm. I opened it and looked. It was a silk handkerchief embroidered with koi fish. The stitches were so fine. It didn't seem like something a girl her age could make. There was also a sword tassel, and it seemed to have a kind of mystical energy about it. Thank you. Su Shanuen immediately smiled like a blooming flower. Her eyes curved like crescent moons. No need to thank me, Suzawa said when he saw the situation. Suddenly inspired. Brother Lu, why don't we become sworn brothers? The inside of the car fell silent. I looked at the expectant look in Suzawa's eyes. The corner of my mouth twitched almost imperceptibly, just as I was unsure how to respond. A voice that really shouldn't have spoken at this moment suddenly rang out. No, the words had barely left his mouth when Suzawa and Su Shanuan's eyes snapped to Su Tianan. Suzawa looked shocked. He asked in surprise, why? Father didn't understand. This was clearly something hugely beneficial to the Su family. So why was his father stopping it? The next moment, Su Tianan's stern and upright voice made Suzawa's eyes go wide, like his head was about to crack open on the spot. Of course, because I'm the one who wants to become sworn brothers with Brother Lu. Go cool off somewhere else. Suzawa and Su Shanuan. Duzawa's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets, his face filled with absolute shock. He just felt like there was a huge impact slamming into his head, like he'd been hit by a truck. He was completely stunned. Instinctively, he pinched his own thigh. In pain, he drew a sharp breath. This is not a dream. The driver up front jerked his hands on the wheel, and the business van swerved on the road, almost hitting the street trees at the roadside. Dad, Lu Chun. He's only 20. Suzawa's voice changed pitch. His fingers unconsciously grabbed the seat, the genuine leather cover. Su Tianan's dignified face was full of seriousness.
He glared at his son.
Martial arts has nothing to do with age. I've already made up my mind to become equals and sworn brothers with Lu Chen. I'm only a bit older than him, so there shouldn't be an issue if I'm the older brother. The corners of Suzawa's mouth twitched uncontrollably, his facial muscles jerking like he had Parkinson's, trembling non-stop. He was screaming inside. Are you only a bit older? You're half a century older. A few dark lines appeared on Suzawa's forehead. His temples throbbed like crazy. As the legitimate heir of the Su family, he'd grown up watching his father dominate the martial arts alliance meetings. As a force to be reckoned with, never in his wildest dreams did he imagine this iron-blooded martial sage would make such an absurd decision. Suzawa felt his worldview was collapsing, falling apart. So from today, Lu Chen is your uncle. Su Tianan's tone left no room for doubt. His gaze cut across his son's flushed face like a knife. Remember, from now on, call him Uncle Lu when you see him. Mind your manners. Did you hear me? Suzawa instinctively shrank his neck. The hair on the back of his neck, standing up straight. That was bloodline-level oppression. His Adam's apple bobbed a few times. But he forcefully swallowed the 10,000 questions that were about to escape his lips. Yes, father, I understand. Suzawa's voice sounded like it was squeezed out from between his teeth. In the back, Su Shanyuan looked at her brother's defeated expression and couldn't hold it in. She burst out laughing. She quickly covered her mouth with her handkerchief, but her eyes curved into crescents and her shoulders trembled, still giving her away. Sunlight streamed through the window, shining on her porcelain white cheeks, making the little tear mole at the corner of her eye glisten brightly. She looked adorably cute. I also hadn't expected Su Tianan to pull off a move like this. I glanced over, pausing on Su Tianan's face for a moment, my expression meaningful, worthy of someone who could take the top seat. His vision is truly out of the ordinary. At that moment, Su Tianan, looking calm as ever, reached for the teapot on the table in the business van, poured a cup of tea, and handed it to me with a smile. Brother Lu, he said, if Zawa gets out of line in the future, feel free to discipline him for me. I calmly accepted the tea. Chief Su, you're too kind. Just call me Zhao Lu. Su Tianan waved his hand. That won't do. Tomorrow I'll make arrangements and hold a formal oath ceremony. I'll have all the important people of Tianshui City come to bear witness. I sipped my tea, smiled slightly, and said, no need. It's fine if Chief Su and I make our pact. But it's enough that just the two of us know. No need to make it public. Su Tianan frowned slightly. But if there are no witnesses, before he could finish, I glanced at Su Shanuen and Suzawa and said with a smile, aren't there already witnesses here? Su Tianan immediately relaxed, bursting out with laughter, right? That's right. My daughter and your wise nephew Zawa can both witness it. Then it's settled. The word settled felt like a heavy hammer striking Suzawa's head. He mechanically turned his head, gazing out the window at the scenery rushing past outside. Suddenly wanting to jump out of the car, he caught a glimpse of his sister still giggling, and immediately snapped, what's so funny? Don't forget you have to call him uncle too. Su Shanuan's smile froze on her face. Her pink lips trembled slightly, and when she turned to look at their father, her deer-like eyes began to well up with tears. Dad, can I not call him uncle? She dragged out the ending. With a soft girlish pout, Su Tianan was about to put on a stern face, when he suddenly noticed the coy handkerchief in his daughter's hand, which clearly matched the one she gave me as a pair. A sharp glint flashed in the old father's eyes. With deep meaning, he said, that depends on what Brother Lu thinks. Instantly, 3 pairs of eyes turned to me. Su Shanuen put her hands together in a pleading gesture, her long eyelashes fluttering like butterfly wings. Her cheeks puffed adorably, like a little kitten begging for food. Of course you don't have to call me uncle. The corner of my eye twitched almost invisibly. Yay! Su Shanuan's smile blossomed like a flower, making a funny face at her brother. Sunlight danced in her hair, turning her chestnut locks golden brown, and making her glow with a soft light. Duzawa's face completely collapsed. He was painfully aware that of everyone in this van, he was the only one whose world was turned upside down. Su Tianan laughed heartily, and then started discussing cultivation and advice with me, chatting excitedly. Su Tianan took out a book called Naling, Visualization Technique. He handed it to me. I hesitated for a moment. Ultimately, I accepted the visualization manual. Although this visualization method definitely isn't as advanced as the mountain, river, sun, and moon visualization method, maybe it can serve as evidence. Anyway, there's no reason not to take it. Su Tianan was even happier when he saw me take the book. He started talking more about secret realms and cultivation. As the sun set, the business van slowly stopped at my old residential community. Su Tianan personally opened the car door for me. While shaking my hand, he lowered his voice and said, Lu brother, in a few days, people from the Martial Arts Alliance may come. If they're from ancient martial families, make sure to be careful around them. Ancient martial families. My eyes flickered slightly, but I didn't ask further. I just nodded. Actually, Su Tianan suddenly sighed. His silver hair trembled softly in the evening breeze. Honestly, I didn't want you to participate in the youth dancer tournament, because it might affect the interests of certain ancient martial families. It might give you trouble then. Su Tianan paused and smiled. He then said quietly, but later I thought, true strength means cutting through all thorns. Avoiding everything is what cowards do. And you want to compete, then just go for it. I believe in you. After saying all this, Su Tianan patted me on the shoulder. Only then did he turn and leave. His silhouette stretched long under the sunset, lonely yet upright, like a blade about to be drawn from its sheath. I looked at this man before me, straight-backed like a pine tree, and suddenly noticed the frayed threads at the inside collar of his suit, and the nearly invisible patch at his sleeve. This martial saint, so powerful and influential, lived such a simple life. I felt moved. Sunlight filtered through thin clouds, casting scattered gleams on my sharply contoured profile. In these always calm eyes, ripples appeared for the first time. The last ray of sunset covered us both with a golden edge. Thank you, I whispered. As the van disappeared around the corner, I turned toward the building entrance. In the twilight, my shadow stretched long, connecting exactly in a straight line with the direction Su Tianan left. Nightfall deepened. City neon lights came on one after another. No one noticed that atop a distant high-rise, a woman wearing a red demon face mask was smearing her fingers across her binoculars. Her scarlet nails glowed like blood in the twilight. The tight black outfit accentuated her dangerously alluring curves. Her red lips under the mask curled up slightly, revealing a dangerous yet captivating smile. Interesting. A quiet night, early morning light. I slowly opened my eyes. Stars seemed to flicker in my gaze. The effects of Naling visualization method really aren't as strong as the mountain, river, sun, and moon visualization method. I muttered softly to myself. I directly condensed a wisp of blue spiritual energy, but its level isn't as low as I expected. Taoist truly can provide some evidence. In some ways, it has unique features. After a night of cultivation, I had fully mastered this visualization technique. For someone who already mastered the mountain, river, sun, and moon visualization method like me, it's like a high schooler preparing for college exams, reviewing middle school material easy. I exhaled a breath of stale air. Then I made a simple breakfast. After eating, I prepared to continue cultivating. Today, I don't plan to go to our T-Mart to kill fish, just to avoid another situation like yesterday. Just as I was about to start cultivating, there was a knock at the door. I frowned slightly. A hint of doubt flashed in my eyes. Who would come find me so early? I slowly stood up. A faint spiritual aura flowed around me. I just sensed slightly, and immediately knew who was outside. As the door opened, there stood Liu Ryan, wearing a long white dress. She had applied only a light touch of makeup today, and the lipstick on her lips wasn't as bright as usual, making her look a bit pale. Even the curls she always styled so carefully were simply tied into a ponytail. She looked utterly exhausted, like she'd endured days of torment. She stood outside the door with her head down, hands folded in front of her, still holding a steaming lunchbox. Her posture was clearly deliberate, making her look very well behaved. After hearing the door open, she hurriedly lifted her head. Her eyes were filled with deep fatigue, the whites bloodshot, lashes carrying undried tears. Lu Chun. She held a steaming insulated box in both hands. Her voice was gentle. You haven't had breakfast yet, right? These are your favorite steamed soup dumplings and soy milk. I specially asked for it to be half sweet. Her voice quivered faintly, words exceedingly soft. In her gaze, there seemed to be a plea almost humble. Her expression tried its hardest to stay natural, as if she wanted to pretend nothing ever happened between us, acting like we were still as close as before, just like old times. This look, anyone seeing it would feel pity. Except me. My face was expressionless. I calmly watched her performance. My eyes held not a hint of change or emotion, like I was watching a clumsy play. My calm and distant gaze made Liu Ryan feel uneasy. She struggled to smile. Her hand holding the lunchbox slowly lowered. She looked down and softly said, Lu Chun, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I know you're still angry at me now. I shouldn't have tested you with something like that, nor purposely provoked you. It's all my fault. Her voice got lower and lower, full of deep remorse. When I got home, I thought about it carefully. The more I thought, the more I realized I was an idiot. I really was so stupid. After she finished talking, a sharp slap sounded. Liu Ryan raised her hand and slapped herself hard. A clear print swiftly appeared on her cheek. She then slowly raised her head. Her eyes filled with regret. Crystalline tears welled up in her eyes, ready to fall. She whispered, Lu Chun, forgive me. Please. After all, we loved each other so much before. Can you really let our story end just like this? I watched coldly, thinking it all ridiculous. She was the one who called me a stinky shark before. Now, after knowing my power, she's the one crying and begging for reconciliation. Such a sudden change. Even a Sichuan opera master would feel ashamed. Liu Ryan saw my eyes still cold and merciless, and instantly felt hopeless. But she still stubbornly said, Lu Chun, I'm not asking to go back to how things were. I only ask for one more chance, to make up for my mistake this time. Is that okay? I smiled. I just coldly uttered one word, get out. After saying that, I got ready to close the door. Wait, seeing this, Liu Ryan immediately dropped to her knees on the ground. She forced her head into the gap in the doorway. She looked up, desperately pleading with Lu Chun. Please, don't make me leave, okay? I really know I was wrong. Please, give me one more chance to make it right. Just then, an incredibly seductive and sugar-sweet voice came from the hallway. Honey, Who is this woman? Why is she at our front door? That voice seemed to carry a scent of honey, and was as soft as a feather, gently brushing past my ear. Each word was filled with a mesmerizing charm. As soon as the words fell, both Liu Ryan and I were stunned. We both looked downstairs. At the corner of the stairs stood a woman in a tight black dress, lazily leaning on the railing. Her long legs were wrapped in sheer black stockings, and her thin 10-centimeter heels made her calves look even more graceful. Her face was even more alluring. Her narrow phoenix eyes lifted slightly, with an enchanting gaze that seemed like it could steal your very soul. She had a high-bridged nose, lips as red and tempting as fresh fruit, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly, with a relaxed, confident smile. Liu Ryan looked at her, her brows immediately furrowing deeply, especially at the way the woman just addressed him, which made her heart fill with deep confusion. Honey, this woman is calling out to Lu Chun. Honey, just as he was feeling puzzled, he saw the woman strutting over with a catwalk-like gait. The clack of her heels on the floor sounded like some kind of warning sign. The woman approached with feline grace. As she leaned forward, a strand of wine-red hair fell down, making her seductive face even more captivating. Where did this shameless tramp come from? Her lips curled up slightly, and she looked down on Liu Ryan from above, her gaze full of disdain. Looking like that, how dare you harass me? Doesn't my husband have a mirror at home? There's always a bathroom, right? Go check yourself out. Liu Ryan's face turned red, then white, her fists instantly clenching. She suddenly stood up abruptly. Only then did she realize the other woman was half a head taller than her, and in terms of looks, figure, and aura, she was completely outclassed. What, you want to get physical? The woman in the tight dress smirked with even more disdain. Then she turned her head toward me again, and switched to a cutesy voice saying, Honey, look at her. She wants to hit me. You have to help me deal with her. Liu Ryan also looked toward me, her eyes filled with tears. She gritted her teeth and said, Lu Chun, who the hell is this woman? Liu Ryan really hadn't expected that after she had only been gone for a few days, so many women had appeared around me. First, the little sister of the deputy director of the Secret Realm Exploration Bureau. Now another one came out of nowhere. And she actually called me husband right away. Liu Ryan was shaking with rage, her fists clenched tightly. She felt a powerful, overwhelming sense of crisis inside. Suddenly she remembered, there really were plenty of women online these days, shamelessly calling Lu Chun husband. Could this woman be one of them? Yet I remained as cold as ever, and once again said the same word, get out. Liu Ryan gnashed her teeth. She really wanted to just leave right then, but she was unwilling to give up. She had a real chance to be someone truly important, but she threw it all away herself. And now even Liu Tianhao was no longer an option. I'm the only one she can rely on now. So even if there's just a sliver of hope, Liu Ryan still couldn't let go. The woman in the tight dress proudly wrapped her arm around mine, pressing her full chest against me on purpose. Did you hear her? My husband told you to get lost. Liu Ryan's fingernails dug deep into her palm, as she glared fiercely at the suddenly appearing woman, noticing the delicate butterfly tattoo on her clavicle, its wings seeming about to take flight. Her long, elegant neck was like a swan's, but the most infuriating were those eyes, with slightly upturned corners, always carrying a flirtatious look when she glanced at others. She was practically a fox spirit. Liu Ryan shot a fierce glare at the seductive little vixen. Deep down she knew there was no way she could get me back today with Jiang Meyer present. It just wasn't possible. Lu Chun, remember? I will always love you. I'll come find you again in a couple of days. After Liu Ryan said that, she put the lunchbox on the shoe cabinet next to her, turned around with a sob, and left crying. But in the next instant, the woman in the tight dress grabbed the bag and threw it hard out the door, smashing it into Liu Ryan. The scalding hot soy milk made Liu Ryan scream in pain. Really shameless, aren't you? This time, you tried to hit on my husband while I wasn't looking. And that's whatever. But now you want to do it again? I'm warning you. If you show up at my door again, every time I see you, I'll teach you a lesson. The woman in the tight dress scolded without mercy. Lu Ryan couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears gushed down from her eyes, like a dam bursting. Her eyes were full of anger, hurt, and unwillingness. If that earlier sob still had a touch of acting in it, this time the tears were absolutely real. That soy milk was seriously hot. If only she hadn't told the owner to use a thermal bag. Lu Ryan shot a vicious look at that woman in the tight dress, gritting her teeth hard, and staggered away from there. Once her footsteps faded away, the woman finally let go of my arm, took a step back, and smiled apologetically. Sorry, I saw you really hated her. So I decided on my own to put on this little show. Hope you're not mad. She extended her hand with black nail polish. Let's introduce ourselves formally. My name is Jung Meyer. I just moved in across from you yesterday. I'm your new neighbor. I frowned slightly. I glanced at the room across from mine. This room had indeed been vacant for a long time. I didn't expect it to be rented out yesterday. Afterward, I took another look at this woman who had suddenly appeared, looking at her up close. She had a beauty mark on the side of her nose, which on that glamorous face added a bit of mystery and depth. She emitted a faint scent of datura, not overpowering, yet very memorable. Lu Chun, I gave a brief self-introduction, with no intention of shaking hands. Jiang Meyer didn't seem to mind. She withdrew her hand and smiled. That was your ex-girlfriend just now, right? You have terrible taste. She habitually flicked her long hair as she spoke. This movement made her cleavage loom in out of sight, as if it were an abyss. But I noticed, on her right ring finger, she wore a uniquely styled ring. The face of it was a blood-red gemstone, and something seemed to be flowing slowly inside. Want to come to my place for some tea? Jiang Meyer suddenly leaned in, her breath as sweet as orchids. Just consider it a thank you for helping me drive away that annoying person. I narrowed my eyes slightly. At this distance, I could clearly smell that, besides the perfume on her, there was also a very faint scent of blood. No need, I took a step back, and closed the door directly. Outside the door, the smile on Jiang Meyer's face didn't fade. Instead, it became even more charming. She stood in the hallway, her delicate nostrils twitching slightly, as if she were capturing my scent lingering in the air. What a heartless little fellow, she murmured softly, with a hint of undetectable intoxication in her voice. Jiang Meyer closed her eyes halfway. Her long curled eyelashes cast a small shadow on her cheeks. Her red lips parted slightly, exhaling a barely audible sigh. When she opened her eyes again, a strange flash appeared in those charming eyes. A red light. She extended the tip of her tongue and gently licked her lower lip, as if savoring some delicacy. This movement made her look like a satisfied cat, radiating danger amidst her laziness. Her high heels clicked sharply as she turned around. The curves of her waist and hips, outlined by the black pencil skirt, were particularly striking in the morning light. She stopped in front of the door across the hall. The moment the key was inserted into the lock, a faint smell of mold wafted from the crack in the door. Opening the door revealed a scene of desolation. The empty living room held only a single folding chair. A few unopened cardboard boxes were piled in the corner. The curtains were tightly closed, and sunlight filtered through the thick fabric, casting blurry spots of light on the floor. The click of the door closing echoed sharply in the empty room, sealing the desolation inside. Meanwhile, after being disturbed by Lu Ryan, I was no longer in the mood to continue my cultivation. I packed up briefly, put on a baseball cap and a black mask, and prepared to go out for a walk. As I left the house, I took another look at that door across from mine. My gaze flickered for a moment. Then I turned and walked away. Walking on the street, there were finally no crazy fans around. I was in a good mood. The sunlight seemed to have brightened up, and even the blowing wind felt like freedom. However, just then, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Lu Chan. Something happened. On the other end of the line, Suzewa's voice was exceptionally solemn. What's wrong? I asked. Come to Xingfu community. Suzehua paused. It's not convenient to talk over the phone. All right, I hailed a taxi, and soon arrived at Xingfu community. Looking from a distance, the scene outside the community was grim. Fully armed SWAT teams were on standby, and police lines completely blocked the entrance. Further away, there were faint ripples of energy unique to martial artists. Suzawa was already there waiting. Upon seeing me, he hurried over to greet me. Then he led me through, all the way to a house inside the community without any obstacles. The security here was even tighter. 2 burly martial artists stood straight at the door, and a special energy barrier was set up around the house. I followed Suzawa into the room. A strong smell of blood hit my face, making me feel nauseous. In the center of the living room, the corpse of an old man lay quietly on the floor. His skull was completely shattered, and brain matter was mixed with blood, coagulating into dark red-hot lumps on the floor. It looked particularly horrifying under the pale lights of the room. The corpse's right hand still held the position of striking his head, with 5 fingers spread wide, as if he were still struggling in the last moment of his life. I immediately narrowed my eyes, and a flash of surprise crossed my gaze. I recognized this old man. He was one of those from that day, one of the 9 martial artists who appeared in the secret realm. I remembered his strength wasn't weak. I didn't expect him to die such a miserable death here. My gaze was sharp as lightning. As I quickly scanned the entire room, I noticed that the items in the room were neatly arranged. There were no signs of a struggle anywhere. The state of the blood splatter also indicated that this was the primary scene. Relying on years of rich experience in cleaning fish and my keen insight, almost instinctively, I analyzed the entire situation in the room in an instant. It was a suicide, I said softly. Suzawa turned his head sharply, a flash of shock in his eyes. It had taken their task force 3 hours to confirm this conclusion, yet I had seen it at a single glance. How do you know? I pointed to the old man's right hand. There's bruising on the palm, and the knuckles are deformed. These are characteristics of long-term palm technique practice. I then pointed to the blood-stain distribution around the corpse. If it were a homicide, the blood wouldn't have sprayed in such an even direction. Then I crouched down and pointed to a subtle mark on the old man's temple. There's an undissipated fluctuation of ki and blood here. It was likely left when he hesitated before committing suicide. Suzawa listened, dumbfounded. These details hadn't even been noticed by their forensic experts. A moment later, Suzawa nodded, with a hint of admiration in his voice. Correct, he likely committed suicide. My gaze was deep. As I asked, what happened? His name is Cheng Lin. Suzawa took a deep breath. He was one of the 9 martial artists who entered the secret realm that day. I nodded. Suzawa's expression was serious. As he said slowly, I was originally investigating the Dark Forest secret realm, trying to find out why the energy index suddenly spiked. I was planning to call the 9 martial artists who entered the realm that day to the bureau for questioning. But this Cheng Lin was the only one missing. Just as I realized something was wrong, someone reported that there was a dead body here. That's how I found out. So it turns out that Cheng Lin was already dead the night before last. And it was suicide. This is the primary scene. I furrowed my brow. My eyes were full of doubt. What was the motive? Suzawa pondered for a moment and said, right now we suspect it was done by the Celestial Organization. That old man was most likely one of the dancers recruited by the Celestial Organization. Because he failed his mission, he chose to commit suicide here. The Celestial Organization. I furrowed my brow. Suzawa sighed deeply. With a serious expression, he explained, the Celestial Organization is an organization formed by martial artists who refuse to be governed by the Martial Alliance. They're the ones who created it. They consider themselves superior. They look down on ordinary people. They follow the principle of absolute strength and the supremacy of martial artists. There is a strict hierarchy within the organization. The rules are harsh. They are ruthless and decisive in their actions. All these years they've been working against us from the shadows, like vipers lurking in the dark. They've infiltrated many places. They're impossible to guard against. Their very existence poses a huge threat to the order of the entire world of dancers. After listening to Suzawa's explanation, I nodded thoughtfully, but I was still puzzled by the old man's actions. Just because he failed his mission, he chose to kill himself? Suzawa nodded earnestly. The Celestial Organization is extremely strict about its hierarchy and rules. Maybe after failing a mission, if they don't commit suicide, something even more brutal is waiting for them. But I was still unconvinced. So they don't even handle the corpse. Just leave him here?
Hearing this, Suzawa,
A flash of anger appeared in his eyes. He clenched his fists slightly, probably as a provocation. That's their favorite thing to do. They just want to show off to us in this way, to demonstrate their presence and power. I nodded and asked one last question. How did they manage to conceal the secret realm's energy level? Regret appeared on Jozawa's face. He sighed and said, I'm still investigating that. Hopefully they didn't use the Stone of Omission. Otherwise, it would really be troublesome. The Stone of Omission. I repeated the unfamiliar term softly. A rare mystical stone that can hide the secret realm's energy level. Extremely precious and rare, Jozawa explained. Currently, it can only be found in the Kunlun secret realm. And the Kunlun secret realm can only be accessed through the Martial Alliance. So if they manage to get the Stone of Omission, it means the Martial Alliance has also been infiltrated. My eyes flickered slightly. Suzawa looked at me and said seriously, anyway, anyone who can make that old man kill himself must have a very high status in the Celestial Organization. And it's very likely they've already arrived in Tianshui City, since there's an urgent matter at HQ. My father has already gone back, so you need to pay special attention to your safety these days. I looked thoughtfully at the corpse. Any organization that can make people willing to kill themselves must have something truly terrifying about it. I nodded. All right. Only then did Suzawa breathe a slight sigh of relief. I'm glad you understand. Now I can relax. Before my father left, he told me to start the second live stream as soon as possible. I plan to begin in 3 days. The location will be set at a Grade C secret realm 100 kilometers outside Tianshui City, the Misty Swamp. After speaking, Suzehua suddenly put on a flattering look and looked at me expectantly. Uncle Lu, you have to come, okay? The success of Tianshui City's second live stream depends on you. That form of address made me raise an eyebrow. Suzawa is at least 5 years older than me. Calling me uncle sure rolls off his tongue. I'll be there, I said calmly. Suzawa was overjoyed instantly. Great, now the second live stream is set. I smiled. Then I declined Suzawa's offer to give me a ride home, saying I wanted to walk for a while. On the way back into the city, I kept feeling that something wasn't right. That insurance salesman's aura, Cheng Ming's bizarre suicide, and the celestial organization Suzawa mentioned. It all seemed connected somehow. Turning a corner, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. Under the streetlight, a figure in a black trench coat was leaning against the building under her apartment. Long wine-red hair gently swayed in the breeze. It was the woman who called herself Jiang Meyer this morning. She looked up at me. Stepping up in 10-centimeter stilettos, she strutted over. Her black bodycon skirt swayed with each step, perfectly outlining her stunning curves. Little brother, Jiang Meyer's red lips parted slightly. Her voice dripping with syrupy sweetness. I need to buy some daily necessities, but I'm not familiar with this area. Can you show me around? She tilted her head slightly as she spoke, wine-red hair falling over her shoulders. Her right hand flicked her hair back, seemingly unintentionally, revealing a slender neckline and a delicate collarbone tattooed with a butterfly. My gaze lingered on her for a moment. Jiang Meyer tonight was even more enchanting than she had been in the morning. The dark red eyeshadow made her fox-like eyes even more alluring. Her lipstick was now a glittery cherry shade, shimmering temptingly under the lights. Most noticeable of all were her sheer black stockings, where, under the streetlight, her skin was faintly visible beneath the fabric. I have to admit, this woman really knows how to use her looks to her advantage. Every smile and gesture exuded charm to the fullest. Seeing me size her up, Jiang Meyer covered her mouth and giggled, her eyes sparkling. Why are you staring at me like that? She deliberately dragged out the last word, her every glance full of allure. Have I bewitched you, little brother? I looked away and replied coolly, there's a bus stop 200 meters ahead. Take the No. 2 bus. 3 stops to our T-Mart. After saying that, I tried to walk past her. Wait, Jiang Meyer moved in a flash, blocking my way, her red lips adorably pursed. I'm going to buy a lot of things. She pointed to her slender wrist. Those seductive, silky eyes looked at me pitifully. Can you really bear to watch a weak woman like me carry so many things alone? She looked up at the gradually darkening sky, pretending to look scared. And it's getting dark soon. It's dangerous for me to be alone. Aren't you worried at all? I nodded thoughtfully. That's true. Jiang Meyer's eyes lit up. She immediately moved closer. The scent of datura wafted from her. Then come with me. Just at that moment, I took a card from my pocket and handed it to her. She took it with a confused look and discovered it was a Durumfa membership card. There's no money left on it though. But with this card, you can get free home delivery, I said calmly. This way, you don't have to carry anything. And you don't have to worry about the dangers of nightfall. After speaking, I stepped around the stunned Jiang Meyer, leaving only one sentence. Remember to return it when you're done. Jiang Meyer stood where she was, watching me walk away. Her lips slightly parted. She looked down at the card in her hand, then looked up at my hesitating back. Suddenly, she chuckled quietly. Interesting, she murmured. A dangerous curve formed on her lips. No one has ever rejected me twice in a row. The night wind blew gently. The card in her hand suddenly ignited with blue flames, and in a blink it turned to ashes. But strangely, her fingers showed no signs of burns. What an ungrateful fool. Jiang Meyer narrowed her eyes. Her sweet voice carried a chilling edge. I'll have to teach you a lesson. Jiang Meyer glanced one last time in my disappearing direction, then turned and walked the other way. Her high heels hit the floor, every step holding back anger. She took out her phone, quickly typed, target, highly alert, recommend activating backup plan. After sending the message, she suddenly stopped walking. She took a small mirror out of her bag. Her reflection was still dazzlingly beautiful. The tear mole at the corner of her eye added more allure. Still as charming as ever. She frowned in confusion, then quickly regained her confident smile. Looks like he's a tough nut to crack. But that only makes things more interesting. She put the mirror away. Jiang Meyer hummed a tune as she walked forward. Her silhouette faded in the night. Only her shadow lengthened and twisted under the streetlights, until strangely it split into two. One was her graceful figure. The other resembled some kind of half-human, half-snake creature. Its claws danced across the wall. 3 days later, people crowded the entrance to the Tianshui Secret Realm Exploration Bureau. As soon as I appeared at the gate, the crowd erupted instantly. Cheers rolled in waves, louder and louder. Countless hands holding autographed posters and phones stretched out desperately. I stood on the stairs. Sunlight gilded me with a golden halo. Today, I'm wearing a simple black combat uniform. Behind me is my ordinary-looking fishget sword. Dear God, give me an autograph. Just one photo, please. Dear God, bro. Look over here. Young girls on their tiptoes, faces glowing with excitement. Thankfully, the Exploration Bureau keeps things orderly. These folks are just devoted fans. Not too crazy. I didn't mind. I took photos with everyone in turn, and signed a few autographs. Finally, before Suzawa and Sushanuan arrived, people gradually dispersed. On the way, Suzawa waved from afar and shouted, rushing over in big strides. He ran up close. Today he's dressed in a crisp uniform, wearing a sparkling badge on his chest. Looking every bit the elite official, Sushanuan quietly followed her brother. She changed into a light blue combat suit today, her long hair neatly tied in a ponytail, with a slender sword at her waist. Seeing me looking over, she smiled brightly, showing 2 cute dimples. Good morning. The 3 of us entered the Exploration Bureau building, walked down the corridor to the office. Suzawa closed the door, and immediately lowered his voice. Uncle Lu, in the last 3 days, has anyone from the Martial Alliance come to see you? I shook my head. No, I didn't leave the house these last 3 days. Just focused on cultivating mountain, river, sun, and moon. And thinking about it, even put Shark's work on hold for now. Suzawa relaxed. Looks like those people just came to go through the motions. Seeing my confusion, he explained that a couple days ago, a few people from the Yanjing Martial Alliance showed up at the bureau, asked for your info. I just made some stuff up to get rid of them. Surprisingly, they really just left. I pondered. Martial Alliance, the organization controlled by the old martial clans, actually came looking for me. Forget them. Suzawa clapped. Let's get moving. The exploration and livestream teams are already waiting at the Misty Swamp. The convoy left the city, Outside, the view went from skyscrapers to lush forests. An hour later, they arrived at their destination, Misty Swamp. At the entrance, armed SWAT officers had sealed it off completely. Beyond the security line, the masses craned their necks when they saw Suzewa's convoy. Ear-splitting cheers erupted. Dear God is here. With Dear God here, this exploration is safe. Last time in the secret realm, Dear God slashed everything single-handedly. This is just a Class C, it's nothing. Looking forward to Dear God's performance. But we shouldn't let our guard down. I heard Misty Swamp has hundreds of missing martial artists, including a 4th-tier master with over 900 ki and blood. Martial artists shouldn't be underestimated. What's there to fear? Dear God can slay even a 5th-tier beast in one strike. A Class C secret realm is nothing. Go, Dear God. Dear God, marry me. You just want half his cultivation. There were die-hard fans waving banners in the crowd, media reporters with big cameras, even vendors selling fish-gut swords just like Lu Chun's. When I got out of the car, the cheers nearly shook the sky. The female host was immediately ready, pointing the camera at me. Dear viewers, Lu Chun, the one everyone's been waiting for, is finally here. I'm sure you all remember that breathtaking sword that opened the heavenly gate. Today at Misty Swamp, what surprises will he bring us? Suzehua protected me as we moved through the crowd, explaining quietly, this expedition team has 7 members, all famous martial artists in Tianshui City. Liu Qianhao is in the lineup too. When he saw me, he instantly flashed a flattering smile. Dear bro, his fawning look made the others stare. I just nodded slightly, but Liu Qianhao acted like he'd received an imperial decree. He straightened his back and looked around triumphantly, as if to say, see? This is my big brother. The gazes of the surrounding dancers grew even more peculiar. Each of these people represents a certain faction, Suzewa whispered. They're mainly here for the soul-wakening grass in the secret realm. This spiritual herb nourishes the mind. It's critical for breaking through to the 5th stage. It's almost impossible to buy even with a fortune. So if they don't listen to instructions, feel free to teach them a lesson. No need to save face for me. I scanned the crowd. These dancers are indeed different from last time. They're all a bit older. Some are heirs of prominent families in custom combat uniforms. Some are family elders wearing luxurious jade pendants. They act arrogantly. Their eyes have an air of superiority. Why didn't you let them go last time? Suzewa scratched his head. I thought the Dark Forest was just a D-rank secret realm. There was no need to rely on them. So I turned down some of the martial artists from prominent families. Otherwise, it'd make Tianshui City's secret realm bureau look incompetent. Who would have thought? I thought to myself. At this moment, Su Shanuan suddenly said, Brother, want to join this exploration too?
Hearing this,
Suzewa didn't even bother being mad. He blurted out in surprise, You want to go into the secret realm too? Su Shanuan nodded. Her eyes were determined. That's right. I can't be a sheltered flower forever. I want to fight too. Suzewa's mouth twitched. He snapped. Fight my ass. Just stay here and behave. Su Shanuan puffed out her chest in defiance. You're looking down on me. I'm also a stage 3 martial artist. I'm not weaker than you, okay? Her words stabbed into Suzewa's heart like a knife. He opened his mouth, but could only let out a bitter sigh. My sister's right. Her cultivation and talent really are better than mine. That's always been Suzewa's pain, because he's not very talented. He worked hard in other areas, trying to accomplish something to show his father. That's why he came to Tianshui City. Besides, Su Shanuan turned to me. Her big eyes were sparkling, with Lu Chun protecting me. I'll be safe. She even put on light makeup today. The mascara made her almond eyes even brighter. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting patches of light and shadow on her face, making her complexion look crystal clear like snow. Suzehua anxiously scratched his hair, but Su Shanuan grabbed his sleeve and shook it. I can't hide under your wings forever. I need to grow too. In the end, Suzehua gave in. He solemnly said to me, Uncle Lu, I'm counting on you to look after my sister. I saw Su Shanuan's hopeful eyes and nodded. Okay. Su Shanuan jumped up in excitement. Her ponytail drew a cheerful arc in the air. Suzehua handed me a backpack. There's antidote in here. In the misty swamp. No need, I waved my hand. For every poison, there's an antidote within 5 steps. Carrying these just weighs you down. Suzawa was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled wryly. True. It's unnecessary for you. With Suzawa's command, the expedition team officially assembled. The female host excitedly announced to the camera, "Dear viewers, the second live broadcast of Tianshui City's secret realm is about to begin. Let's follow Lu Qian's steps and the live camera to explore the mysterious Misty Swamp secret realm together." The entrance is a swirling green vortex. Thin mist drifts around. Sometimes you can faintly hear eerie noises from inside. I was the first to step in. Su Shanuan followed closely behind. The other dancers entered one after another. The moment we passed through the entrance, hot, humid air rushed over us. In front of us was a swamp as far as the eye could see. Gray-green mist hung low. Visibility was less than 10 meters. Beneath our feet was soft muck. Occasionally bubbles rose up, and when they popped, a rotten stench spread. "Stick close to me," I told Su Shanuan over my shoulder. The girl nodded, obediently following right behind. Her slender sword was already drawn. She watched her surroundings warily. The team moved forward slowly, and soon was swallowed up by the thick fog, where they couldn't see. Deep in the swamp, pairs of crimson eyes silently opened. The thick fog was like a gray-green wall, pressing heavily on everyone's heads. Bubbles occasionally burst from the swamp, releasing pale yellow poison that smelled strongly of sulfur. As we went deeper, the smell grew worse and worse. If an ordinary person breathed this poison, before long, they'd definitely pass out, or even die from the toxins. But everyone here was a martial artist, so they didn't feel too uncomfortable. Instead, the stinky muck underfoot made everyone frown. In the group, a young man in a custom combat uniform gagged once, looking at the mud clinging to his boots in disgust. With a quick movement of his wrist, a faint red glow of blood energy wrapped around his feet, blocking the muck from sticking. The others quickly followed suit. Various colors of blood energy flickered everywhere. I glanced back, frowning slightly. These pampered heirs were wastefully using their precious blood energy just to keep their shoes clean. In a deadly secret realm like this, every bit of energy could mean life or death. But I couldn't be bothered to warn them. Whether they lived or died wasn't my concern. My eyes fell on Su Xiaonuan, somewhat surprised. The girl's pale cheeks were damp from the mist. A few strands of hair stuck to her forehead. Her boots were caked in blackish mud, yet she didn't use her blood energy to protect herself at all. Her bright eyes kept scanning the surroundings vigilantly. Her slender sword quivered in her hand, ready to strike at any moment. Sensing my gaze, Su Shanuan looked up. Her almond eyes shone especially bright in the mist, like 2 twinkling stars. Saw myself watching myself. He blinked. A mischievous smile played at the corners of his mouth. 2 adorable dimples appeared. I nodded lightly, then turned to lead the way. Visibility in the swamp was extremely poor. Even with my level 5 martial artist eyesight, I could only make out what was within 20 meters. Now and then the thick mist carried a rustling noise, as if something was moving through the mud. "Stay close," I said in a low voice. My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear in everyone's ears. No one dared to be careless. They all moved closer, though they were used to a life of comfort and privilege. None of them were stupid. They knew staying close to me was safest. Suddenly, I stopped in my tracks. "Ah!" Su Shanuan, who was right behind me, was caught off guard. Her whole face crashed squarely into my back. Clutching her reddened forehead, she backed up 2 steps, realizing the intimacy of what had just happened. A blush instantly bloomed on her cheeks. Even the tips of her ears turned pink. But I didn't have time to care about that. With a flick of my wrist, the Fishget sword flashed from its sheath. A silvery slash of swordlight struck the swamp to my right like lightning, where the blade cut. Even the thick fog was briefly split open, revealing twisted deadwood in the distance. Amid a piercing, shrill hiss, a massive serpent, over 10 meters long, burst from the mud. Its scales gleamed with a corpse-like grayish green. Where its forked tongue swept, the air sizzled as if burning. I gave a slight twist of my sword's edge. What looked like a casual slash landed precisely at its weak spot. In the next instant, its body, thick as a barrel, was sliced cleanly in 2 by sword energy. Dark green poison blood gushed out. making a harsh corrosive hiss as it hit the muddy ground. Its fangs, as long as an adult's forearm, still retained a menacing, attacking posture. A savage glare was frozen in its crimson eyes.
It's a bone-corroding viper.
Someone in the group cried out, "A peak tier level 3 beast." Everyone gasped. This type of beast is known for ambushing in swamps. Its venom can, within a minute, rot through the bones of even a level 4 martial artist. If I hadn't noticed in time, they would have lost at least 2 or 3 people. Liu Tianhao's legs buckled, and he nearly collapsed on the spot. "Brother Liu, you're awesome." The other martial artists were even more stunned. They hadn't detected any danger just now. But not only did I spot it early, I took it out with a single strike. Dealing with a venomous serpent none of them could have handled together. Su Shangyuan gazed at my back, her eyes sparkling. That tall, pine-like figure stood half-shrouded by mist, yet gave her an incredible sense of security. As if with me here, this perilous swamp felt as safe as a backyard garden. Sheathing my sword, the motion smooth as flowing water. That strike seemed simple, but it actually contained all the insight I've gathered lately about breaking open the sword's heavenly gate. My sword energy was contained, its sharpness hidden, but upon hitting its mark, it unleashed a devastating force. Vitality increased by 5. With another flick of my wrist, I extracted a dark green crystal core from the bone-corroding viper's head. I casually slipped it into my pocket. There was still sticky venom coating the crystal's surface, but the moment it touched my skin, an invisible force shook it off. "Let's keep moving." After tossing a rebirth talisman behind me, I spoke without turning my head. Then I strode deeper into the thickening fog, as if I had just swatted a mosquito. Everyone behind me unconsciously straightened their spines. Those annoyed by the muddy ground a moment ago now didn't dare make a sound. At that moment, the streaming studio outside had exploded in excitement. Comments scrolled across the screen like a blizzard. "Damn, I blinked and the snake was gone. Dear God is so fast. How is this even human speed? Peak level tier 3 beast 1-hit kill. How is this even fair?" My mom asked why I'm kneeling while watching the stream. That sword light was insanely cool. Dear God, please teach us swordsmanship. That snake died so unfairly. Didn't even finish its lines. Dear God gets an extra meal today. Snake sashimi. Snakes are so cute. Why kill them? Someone check if Dear God is hacking. Dear God is basically the real boss, okay? The female host finally snapped out of her shock. Her professionalism allowed her to quickly get back on track. Dear viewers, as you can see, Liu Chen has once again shown his incredible strength. That bone-corroding viper he just faced was a peak tier level 3 beast. Its venom is so potent, even level 4 martial artists would steer clear. Yet Liu Chen took it down with one blow. The director smartly switched to the replay. Slow motion captures the moment I drew my sword. A vacuum formed briefly around the blade. Even the poison was dispersed. This scene sent the chat into a frenzy again. This is swordsmanship? This has to be magic. Sword energy unleashed. Confirmed. Level 5 sword master. Dear God, need a disciple? The kind who can warm your bed? Kid above, mind your place. That move is worth 10 rockets. As a flood of virtual gifts flashed on screen, the stream's popularity soared past 50 million. Meanwhile, in the secret realm, I was oblivious to it all, just leading the team deeper into the swamp. Suddenly, my ears twitched. I heard faint rustling ahead, far denser than with the last viper. My gaze sharpened. I motioned for everyone to halt. "What's wrong, Brother Liu?" Liu Tianhao asked nervously. His voice was shaking. I didn't answer, but slowly drew my fishget sword. This time, a faint green-blue glow danced along the blade, like an awakened azure dragon. Deeper in the swamp, the mist suddenly churned violently. The putrid fog trembled intensely. Hundreds of rustling sounds surged from the depths of the mud, like the whispers of death swirling above the swamp. Liu Tianhao swallowed hard, his pupils shrinking dramatically. "Brother dear, this doesn't sound right. There are way too many." Before he could finish, multiple jet black-green columns of water exploded from the swamp. Suddenly, dozens of inky green water pillars shot up. Crimson snake eyes formed a bloody chain in the mist. Like the Milky Way, Bone-corroding vipers burst out like a black tide. Their scales shimmered with an eerie green light. Venom dripped from their fangs, giving off a nauseating aura. Thick serpent bodies twisted around each other, making a bone-chilling scraping sound. We're doomed. We stirred up a snake nest. Liu Tianhao's face went ashen, his legs shaking uncontrollably. The other martial artists were just as pale. Some even turned to run. Su Xianyun tried to stay calm, but her hand on her thin sword trembled slightly. Just then, a resounding sword hum shook the earth. I slowly raised the fishket sword, and an azure dragon pattern suddenly shimmered on the blade. The azure dragon bloodline within me began to boil. An ancient and majestic aura radiated from my body. Two completely different forces crashed together inside me. The ethereal sword intent of the azure serpents was wrapped in the brutal pressure of the azure dragon bloodline. It transformed into a tangible dragon's roar that echoed throughout the swamp. I saw the dragon pattern on the Changjian in my hand come alive, as if awakened. It turned into an azure dragon shadow coiling around the blade. With every swing of my sword, two enormous azure dragon phantoms burst forth roaring. They thundered over the snake horde like a bolt of lightning, and everywhere the azure serpents and azure dragons passed, the very air trembled in response. Those three realms' apex beasts that everyone feared couldn't even muster the courage to resist against the pressure of the azure dragon phantoms. They had no will to fight at all. Their heads exploded like overripe watermelons. Jet-black poisonous blood splattered everywhere. Black blossoms of death erupted in the mud. Azure sword energy swept like a tidal wave, tearing through everything in its path. Serpentine bodies were sliced clean apart. Dark green poisonous blood rained down from above. The aftershock of the sword aura even dispersed the thick fog for hundreds of meters around, revealing a wide open clearing. How is this possible? The weapon of a noble heir clattered to the ground. He stared at me, watching me suppress the entire snake horde single-handedly. A choked sob caught in his throat. This is simply beyond human capability.
He's basically a god.
Su. Zhang Yuan's sweat-soaked hand gripped the slender sword tightly, forgetting even to tremble. He saw my black hair flying, with azure flames burning in my eyes. Each sword swing carried the force to split heaven and earth. The azure dragon phantom flickered behind me. Ripples swept across the swamp from the power of the dragon's roar. Those snakes that were so arrogant moments earlier now seemed fragile as candles in the wind. When the last viper's corpse sank into the swamp, no one even had time to sigh in relief yet. From the depths of the swamp came a sudden deafening roar. The ground started to shake violently. Mud shot upward like a fountain. A gigantic venomous snake, the size of a house, broke through the surface. Its scales glimmered with a dark red metallic sheen. 3 sharp bone spikes jutted from its head. Its crimson tongue was as thick as an elephant. Each flick released corrosive venom into the air. 5th stage means a soul beast. King Kui, Liu Tianhao, collapsed to the ground, his legs trembling uncontrollably. We're finished. We've really stirred up a snake's nest this time. Yet I slowly raised my Chengjian horizontally before my chest, the corner of my mouth curling into a cold smile. The dragon bloodline inside me boiled insanely. The sword intent of the azure serpents turned into solid azure chains that wrapped around me. My hair and sword billowed despite the still air. My entire being seemed to transform into a peerless divine weapon ready to be drawn.
Noisy.
That simple word exploded like thunder. Over the swamp, my figure flashed, turning into a streak of azure light, aimed straight for King Kui's vital point. Amid the dragon's roar, the azure dragon phantom opened its massive jaws and swallowed King Kui whole. Along the arc traced by the Changjian, space itself tore open with a massive rift. King Kui's dying scream ended abruptly. His gigantic body was sliced neatly in half with dark green. Poisonous blood pouring down like a waterfall, turning the surrounding mud jet black. Even in death, his scarlet serpent eyes still displayed utter disbelief. He had only just entered the scene. The silence was absolute, deathly silent. Everyone stared at the messy battlefield, then at the figure standing atop a mountain of serpent corpses. Not a drop of venomous blood on his clothes. Breathing even became difficult. I sheathed my sword, with the grace of a noble-tasting fine tea, as if that harrowing battle just now was nothing more than swatting a few mosquitoes. Everyone stared dumbfounded at the scene before them, even forgetting to breathe. That was a fifth-rank beast. Yet under my sword, it couldn't withstand even a single move. Liu Tianhao dropped to his knees on the ground, murmuring Brother Liu to himself. No, God Liu. From now on, you're my real father. Right at that moment, a dancer suddenly pointed into the distance shouting, "Awakening grass!" Everyone turned toward the voice. In the center of the swamp, in a clearing, a patch of silver-blue magical grass grew. They gently swayed in the mist, and every leaf glowed with a warm light. That was exactly what they came for. Awakening grass, it really is awakening grass. So much of it. One dancer's voice changed from sheer excitement. But the strange thing was, no one dared to approach to pick it. Everyone stood rooted in place, all eyes fixed eagerly on me. The last battle had already made it clear to them. In this secret realm, without my permission, they couldn't touch even a single blade of grass. Su Shanuen gazed at my tall, upright figure, her eyes full of admiration. Sunlight spilled through the parted mist onto me, casting a golden halo over my body, as if a god had descended to earth. The livestream comments had gone completely wild. What the hell did I just see? Is that Azure Dragon for real and not a special effect? Godlu, 4th stage beast? That's nothing. My mom asked why I was bowing and kissing the screen. Even the Martial Arts Federation would kneel to this power. Please let him join. The female host has completely lost her professionalism. Mouth open, unable to say a word for a long time. The director is in a panic, switching between various replay angles. But even at the slowest 0.5x speed, you still can't see my full sword movement clearly. Suzawa stands in front of the monitor. His mouth is open wide enough to fit an egg. He's staring intently at my sword withdrawing move on screen. His eyes are filled with disbelief at this moment. This is impossible,
he mutters to himself.
His fingers unconsciously pinch his own thigh. It's only been a few days. He took down a 5th-tier beast even easier than last time. Growing up by his father Su Tianen's side, Suzawa has seen too many talented dancers. But someone like me, who can noticeably improve in just a few days, is a monster he's never seen before. That effortless attitude, that natural poise, all prove one thing. This man's strength has reached another level. Is he getting stronger every day? Cold sweat beads on Suzawa's forehead. This thought chills him to the bone. If that's really the case, Lu Chun's potential is terrifying enough to send shivers down one's spine. Meanwhile, at the edge of the crowd, a figure wearing a baseball cap and face mask is clenching their fists tightly. Through a gap in the crowd, Liu Ryan stares at my tall, upright back on the big screen. Her lips have turned pale from being bitten. Blood even seeps out. That was supposed to be my man. Liu Ryan's heart churns with indescribable regret. Her nails dig deep into her palms, but she feels no pain. Memories flood in like a tidal wave. The me who went out to catch fish every morning and brought her supper every night. The me who, on her birthday, spent a month's wages to buy her a necklace. The me who stayed up all night by her side when she was sick. Lu Chun, could it be? You really forgot everything we once experienced together? Liu Ryan screams in her heart. Whenever she thinks of how I treat her now, Liu Ryan feels a chill all over, so upset she could puke. On the big screen, I'm calmly sheathing my sword. Sunlight shines through the mist onto me, outlining a perfect side profile. Every gesture shows a strong presence, making all the dancers around instinctively lower their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. That could have been mine. Liu Ryan's vision blurs. Tears stream uncontrollably down her face. She suddenly remembers that day, kneeling and begging at the door. That flamboyant woman who appeared out of nowhere. The humiliation she felt. And my eyes, cold as ice. A tear falls, soaking her mask. Liu Ryan suddenly turns around, shoving her way out of the crowd. She can't watch anymore. Every extra second she sees, her regret deepens. That feeling is like a million ants gnawing at her heart, hurting so much she can barely breathe. That was supposed to be my place. In her heart, Liu Ryan screams. Regret gnaws at her insides like a poisonous snake. If only I hadn't left Lu Chun for Liu Tianhao and abandoned Lu Chun Today, the one standing next to this dazzling man, envied by all, would have been me. A strong hate suddenly surges up inside. She glares at Su Xiaonuan's figure on screen. Hatred flashes in her eyes. That little b asterisk TCH. Why does she get him so easily? Losing everything wasn't enough. Liu Ryan wipes the tears from her face, forcing a twisted smile. Su Xiaonuan definitely doesn't know. There's still a foxy vixen at Liu Chan's home. If those two meet, they'll definitely fight. Maybe both will leave Liu Chan. Then I'll have my chance. As she turns to leave, her steps are shaky, her back hunched like a lost dog. But a crazy fire still burns in her eyes. At the same time, everyone in the secret realm is busy harvesting. Awakening grass. These deep blue spiritual herbs grow near snake nests, emitting a faint mental aura. Each dancer digs carefully, afraid to damage the roots. Too slow. I frown and walk straight to a patch of awakening grass. My fingers move nimbly, like butterflies among flowers. And in a flash, I dig out 3 intact stalks, roots perfectly unscathed. Meanwhile, Liu Tianhao and the others are dissecting snake corpses to get spirit cores. They're clumsily slicing open snake skins with daggers, getting foul, sticky slime all over their hands. But I just give a casual wave with my fish intestine sword. A few flashes of cold light, and a giant snake is cleanly dissected for the core. Easy as that. Damn, that technique. A member from a prominent family is stunned. No wonder he's a professional fish butcher for 20 years. Liu Tianhao swallows hard. Those knife skills are unreal. The live chat is going wild too. God, Liu's dissection skills. Even a Michelin chef would cry seeing this. Should open a slaughterhouse. That's guaranteed profit. From shark cutter to snake slayer. God, Liu's journey of career upgrades. No way you get this good without at least 20 years practice. My mom asks why I kneel to learn fish butchering. Soon. All the spirit cores are neatly stacked in front of me. Everyone obediently hands their cores to me, including those dressed up rich kids, keeping only 1 stalk of awakening grass for themselves. Brother Liu, you keep these. Liu Tianhao fawns with a smile. If it weren't for you, we'd all be dead. Everyone else nods in agreement, their faces full of awe. They know very well, being able to bring back even 1 awakening grass alive today is incredible luck. You know, out there, a stalk of awakening grass sells for a sky-high price, and it's still hard to get even with money. Every dancer watching the live stream online is green with envy. Forget it. This is way too easy. Teaming up with God Liu. You eat 9 meals in 3 days. Is it too late to start learning fish butchering now? God Liu, take me with you next time, please. This isn't even an adventure. It's basically stealing money now. So awesome. If I could join the Tianshui City Secret Realm Bureau, I'd happily keep Liu Chan's bed warm and live in his mansion. No complaints. Bro upstairs just wants it all, huh? Su Xiaonuan holds her awakening grass, her little face full of delight. But she keeps sneaking glances at me more than anything, her eyes sparkling with something special. I put the spirit cores away, feeling my inner vitality rise a little. These 3rd and 4th tier cores aren't as good as 5th tier, but there's a lot of them. More importantly, I look toward the depths of the swamp. There's a faint yet even stronger presence from there. Maybe behind the pregnant soul devourer king, an even greater power is lurking. Take 5 minutes to rest. Then we'll keep going, I said calmly. The sound wasn't loud, yet it instantly energized everyone. Everyone exchanged looks. Each saw excitement in the other's eyes. If you follow me, there might be even more gains ahead. After the break, the group continued deeper into the swamp. The mist around them grew thicker, like a heavy gray wall, enclosing everyone tight. Visibility dropped to a terrifying level. For ordinary people here, you probably couldn't even see your own fingers. Stay close to me. A voice came from ahead, steady and powerful. Everyone huddled together like frightened quails. Even their breathing grew extremely light. Liu Tianhao clung tightly to the coat of the person in front, worried he'd get separated if he wasn't careful. In this dense fog where you can't see your own hand, if you get left behind, the consequences are unimaginable. Su Xiaonuan stayed close right behind me. Her little face was tense. She's been afraid of the dark since she was a kid. She has to keep a nightlight on when she sleeps. In her arms, She still hugged the strawberry bear plush that accompanied her since childhood. The plush toy now finds itself in this eerie darkness. Logically, she should be trembling with fear. But strangely, looking at the upright figure ahead, she didn't feel a trace of fear. My silhouette faded in and out through the thick fog, like a beacon that would never go out, dispelling all her anxiety. Su Shanwen blinked, unconsciously moved half a step closer. She could even smell the faint scent of grass coming from me, mixed with a subtle metallic tang of blood. Oddly calming. Just then, her smooth forehead once again bumped firmly into my back. The girl cried out in surprise, covered her nose and stepped back half a step. Her eyes instantly turned red. That bump was no joke. Her tiny nose tip blushed red. Tears begun welling up in her eyes.
Sorry.
Su Shanwen hurriedly apologized. Her voice had a hint of panic and embarrassment. She was way too careless. One bump was fine. But she bumped into me twice in a row. Her heart pounded. Afraid I might think she did it on purpose. Su Shanwen lowered her head. Didn't dare look at my expression. Her ears were so red they could bleed. Instantly, a flood of comments appeared in the live stream. Oh, she bumped into him. Miss is so cute after bumping. Does the dear god's back hurt? I totally ship this. I'm moving the marriage office here. No, my dear god. I glanced back. The girl looked down like a child who did something wrong. Tears still hanging from her long lashes, sparkling in the dim light. I paused for a moment, and suddenly took out a tissue from my pocket, and handed it to her. Watch your step. My voice was still calm, but my tone was gentler than usual. Su Shanwen blankly took the tissue. It still carried a bit of warmth. She carefully wiped the corners of her eyes, then clutched the handkerchief tightly in her palm, as if holding a precious treasure. I had already moved forward again. My mental force spread outward like a web. Everything within a 50-meter radius couldn't escape my senses. A few venomous snakes lurking in the swamp hadn't even attacked, before getting sliced in half by invisible sword energy. Strangely, I suddenly stopped. My brow furrowed slightly. What's wrong, Brolu? Liu Tianhao asked nervously, his voice trembling. I didn't answer. Instead, I squatted down, lightly touched the ground with my fingers. The sludge there showed a strange dark red hue, and exuded a faint foul smell. Blood? Su Shanwen whispered. I shook my head. Not animal blood. Their faces changed as they heard. Instant chills ran through everyone. Not animal blood. So that means... Just then, swoosh. A sharp sound suddenly soared from the fog. My gaze sharpened. Yu Chang's sword flashed out. Sword light cut through the air with precision, intercepting a blob of dark green venom. The venom was split by the sword energy. When the sword hit the ground, a sizzling sound echoed. Careful, there's something in the mist. I warned in a deep voice. As soon as I finished speaking, several more sharp sounds attacked from all directions. My wrist moved deftly. Sword light formed an impenetrable web. Most of the venom was blocked, but a few still slipped through. A dancer screamed out. His arm was hit by venom. White smoke rose instantly. His skin decayed visibly fast. My leg, help. Another person fell to his knees. His calf was corroded to expose the bone. Everyone panicked immediately. Terrified, huddled together. Liu Tianhao was so scared he lay flat on the ground, holding his head tightly, trembling uncontrollably. Quiet, I shouted coldly. The force in my voice instantly calmed everyone down. My gaze was sharp, scanning deep into the fog. Those bizarre attacks, even my mental force, didn't sense them in advance. Something's off. Everyone, get behind me, I said in a deep voice. A faint glow appeared on the dragon pattern on the sword, just as everyone rushed backward. Suddenly, the sword point pivoted. A dazzling sword beam shot skyward. Two sleeves of green snake light flashed, like a green dragon leaping from the sea. That sword carried immense mental force that split nearly 100 meters of fog. As the mist cleared, everyone finally saw the attackers clearly. Dozens of strange birds circled overhead. They were completely featherless. Their skin was dark red, with bat-like flesh wings. The creepiest thing was, their beaks were hollow, like syringes, and the tips dripped green venom. It's a corrosive nightshade. Suzewa's voice came through the mic, sounding obviously tense. Level 3 social beast. Their venom corrodes steel. Their attacks are almost silent. Livestream viewers sent disgusted comments. Damn, what is that thing? That's just gross. Galu, be careful. Can these things become invisible? Mom, I'm terrified upstairs after throwing so many tiles.